next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, we're just one day away from our big party. 5 years of News Talk STL on the air. I can't believe we're there myself. What a ride this has been. You know what? Maybe it's going to rain. Maybe it's not. We don't know. We'll see what's going to happen tomorrow night at the party. But guess what? We're going to be there. We're going to be under a pavilion. So I hope you plan on coming on out to join us in Cottleville. All the details are at newstalkstl.com. Special event happening tonight. This is with our friends at Reach Reproductive Health. They have a parenting university. And so when young people or even older people come in with a crisis pregnancy, obviously they meet the immediate needs, but then they offer these services to set the young women and oftentimes their partners, the young men, up for success, not just to save the life of their baby, but to build a family and a legacy. And they're going to have the first graduation ceremony and a celebration really tonight. And so on Wednesday's program, Levi Hart from Reach Reproductive Health joined us not just to preview what's going to happen, but also why it's so crucial for these young people and these young families to really kind of embrace them and help them and encourage them and support them as they start their lives together as families. And here's what he had to say and how you can be a part of it.
Hey, it's graduation time. Woo! Okay, and you're saying, no, the kids' graduation, college graduations, that was weeks ago, Mike. No, it's graduation time for the adults who have chosen life.
Oh, fantastic.
And you can be a part of it. And it's happening this week. And it's all happening through our friends at Reach Reproductive Health. We're joined right now by Levi Hart from Reach. Levi, my friend, good to chat with you. And people think of Reach, and they rightfully think of the crisis pregnancy, meeting the immediate needs, the medical care, and the alternatives to abortion. But I think a lot of people, even though you've mentioned it on the air, and even though you've talked about it at the events that that you've had for Reach, I think a lot of people don't intuitively think of equipping the parents and helping to build a family, or equipping parents to build a family themselves. Because that's one of the arguments against the pro-life movement is people say, oh, you're just pro-birth, just outlaw, then you leave people to their own. No. You're following through exactly the way that people say never happens, but it happens all the time. And you've got the first group who has completed this program. You got to tell us about this.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on, by the way. You're awesome. Always supportive of the pro-life cause, so we appreciate you. So three points here that I think are worth bringing up. One, in order to help a pregnant mom in crisis, or even her partner that feels like they're in crisis, one of the first things you have to do is help get them out of that crisis. It's not a matter of bringing them in and then hey, we're going to convince you of our political, moral, or religious views. Really, we address it by addressing the various crises that they are going through in that moment. And these parenting classes are just one way we do that. Maybe they already have 2 or 3 kids and they're thinking, I can barely handle these. How am I going to do more? Or maybe they've never had a kid at all and they're just scared and thinking, gosh, I don't want to be I don't want to bring a kid into this world, and things like that. Or they're thinking, I don't have money for pack and plays or car seats or diapers. And the thing is, when they go to these classes, they're going to get wrapped around with emotional support, educational support. The parenting classes are really like adulting 101 on some level. Because they're going to cover everything from budgeting to breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. And when they go, they earn points that allow them to go to our resource shop. And they shouldn't have to pay for a single diaper for the whole first year of that child's life. So that's point one, as far as okay, get them out of the crisis. But then, it argues the point also of, this isn't just get them in and convince them to have a baby and then they're out on their own. by any stretch at all. But then thirdly, beyond all of that, whenever they go through this, they're getting all these resources as a parent to where they're actually going to end up leaving Reach on the other side of this graduation better off than they were prior to entering into what felt like a crisis.
We're visiting with Levi Hart from Reach Reproductive Health, and I think that's fascinating how you just say they're going to end up leaving Reach. And that's kind of the point, because you want them self-sustaining and out on their own. And a lot of times people with the best of intentions equate, I give somebody stuff, or I give somebody money, or I provide this immediate need. I've done my part, without the idea of that sustainability. And you can set somebody up for failure and have this well-intentioned cruelty to people, even though that's not what you want. But you've got this long program. What is it that's going to be celebrated Thursday at this graduation? Because you're inviting everybody to come out and support these folks, and then we'll get into why that matters too. But what is it that, to walk across the stage and to give a testimony and be a part of this, what is it that these folks have actually done, with the first thing being they chose life?
Yeah. So they've gone through 42 weeks of parenting classes. So I don't know about you, Mike, but I mean, I did not go through nearly a year of parenting classes before I became a parent. And I helped, in the past, I've helped teach them before. And I'm telling you, I mean, it would have been really helpful. So they've devoted themselves to coming out to these classes weekly. And a lot of them are their partners as well. So among the graduates this year, you're going to see some of the fathers up on the stage too. And we're inviting everyone to come out, because we're actually having the event at the Chaminade Preparatory School. In their theater there, it's beautiful. So, I mean, for some of these people, it might be one of the first things they've graduated before. And they're going to be walking across this stage ready to step on out and be productive members of our society, which starts in the home, right? And now we have a chance to come and celebrate them. So to all the listeners out there, this is a free event this Thursday, 6 p.m. at Chaminade. You can go to outreachforlife.org, and you'll find under events a place to register your spot there.
Okay, so most people watching us or listening right now, Levi, they're saying, well, I don't know anybody there. I mean, I'm sure they want their friends and their family there. It's not going to matter to them if I'm there. I mean, either what's in it for them, for complete strangers to be there, and what's in it for us to watch complete strangers celebrate this achievement?
That's a valid question, Mike. Yeah, so for one, there's 12 graduates. It's not like a high school graduation or a college graduation where you have, hundreds of people graduating. So the room is full. So they probably have of friends and family there, 50 to 100 people. But imagine the support of hundreds more people coming and cheering them on and clapping for them and excited for them and showing like, wow, there's a lot of people for me here. This is amazing. So one, just the support of that in and of itself will go light years. You think of, this will be a moment they will never forget. I mean, it's cap and gown and everything. But then for those who are there, it's a chance to see, we hear a lot of bad things in the news constantly about abortion. I mean, we just heard the thing in Missouri about, what's going on with the abortion pill now. And now it's like, no holds bars and everything. And there's all this, but it's like, hey, look at the work that's happening here. You'll get a chance to see some parents that chose life for their babies, though they were in a crisis situation. And in part, because of supporters like the people listening right now, who have stepped forward, and that can start on Thursday. It's not just money. So if you're like, man, I want to get involved in this, in the pro-life movement, and go beyond just my vote, here's a way you can do it. You can show up Thursday, and you can show your support for some parents who otherwise could have chosen abortion.
Yeah, and we're looking at, we've said it all the time, and Levi, you and I have had this conversation on air, and we've had it in private, is that a lot of times when people think of pro-life movement, they say, I'm doing my part to protect babies by voting yes on Amendment 3, which I hope we all do. I've helped, elect pro-life candidates. Okay, great. That is really important. But in this case right here, you can be a Democrat, you can be a Republican, you can be independent, you can be non-political.
Yeah.
But the pro-life movement is far more encompassing than just election time where all the consultants make the money. This is where we look at the faces and we see the hearts of the people who said, many cases, I mean, you've got more experience, obviously, than most people walking around St. Louis, but I've got a feeling innately that very few people will say, oh, here's my excuse to go get an abortion. They intuitively want life, and now they've got an opportunity to do it through organizations like yours.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike, and that's what we found. Like, as soon as you can address the whatever the crisis is, whatever has them at a point where this seems like a bad thing, like a life destroyer, like maybe you remember that old Kenny Chesney song, "There Goes My Life," and if you can just address that, and you just never know what it's going to be. That's going to make it click. When they come into our center, that's what we do. We try to figure out what is this that's making this pregnancy feel like a crisis. And we meet them in that spot. And it is, it takes a village. It doesn't just take, a nonprofit organization is not just the people that it hires that are working and doing this thing. A nonprofit organization truly is, owned by the people in a sense, because it's not owned by the board or by the CEO or anything like that. It is, the people coming and making this happen. And this graduation is one great way to do that, to come, to witness, to celebrate, and to take it back into your everyday life, because you're right. The voting is incredibly important. We need everyone to get out and vote yes for Amendment 3 this year. But then beyond that, you think of, before slavery was abolished, or even after it was, the Underground Railroad, you had people that were involved in everyday life in making this happen. It had to go beyond the vote. Or you look at World War II, before our troops went in there and liberated the concentration camps, what was happening there? You had people hiding Jews. It was their everyday life in which they were playing a role in what was the major crisis of their day. And abortion is the major crisis of our day.
Levi, there's probably, and I've just got a minute or so left here, Levi, but there's probably somebody out there watching or listening right now who says, I know a young woman who's in a crisis situation. She doesn't know what to do. Would this be a good thing for her to come see?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, definitely. Yeah, invite anybody to this. This is a huge celebratory moment. This isn't something you can invite. This is something to invite your Democrat friends to. They have different viewpoints on this, like anybody, because they're going to come and really they're just going to be celebrated. And these are going to be people who just share their stories. So it's not going to be, you're going to come and it's going to be a big red wave or something like that. It can be a good place for everybody to come, and especially for someone who's in the situation, because they're going to see somebody who's made a brave decision, who's out on the other side.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a political thing. This is truly just a full-on life-affirming thing. It doesn't matter what your political views are, I would think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's come in and see what the Lord's done in these people's lives. It's a time to celebrate life, and not just the life of the baby, but the life of the parents and what is happening in their life as they've been empowered.
All right, let's give out that website information again, Levi, so people can check that out, because your natural reaction is a lot of people are going to go, oh, good for them, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. But yeah, they may find something, they take away something out of this unexpectedly.
Yes, that's good. So outreachforlife.org.
And once again, that website is outreachforlife.org. And if you can't make it tonight, I hope you can, but if you can't, you can also support the work that Reach does through that website as well. All right, Flashback Friday is tomorrow. Jerome's picked the theme. Makes a lot of sense. What are the songs that make you feel good about America? Here we are coming up on the 250th birthday of our country. So send some songs in to him that sort of, just kind of reinforce that. Feel-good songs, patriotic songs, or just songs that just kind of grab the essence of the good old U.S. of A. Send that to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com or send us a note on social media. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime,
Love the News Talk STL app.
anywhere.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales. And voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Jeez. Taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder, but our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
Why did the Today Show's Brian Gumbel get yanked off a St. Louis golf course this week in 1985? Then it's back to Collinsville and the ketchup bottle in 2000 when native Michael Stipe of REM got a little mixed up. Also, we fly over Busch Stadium with a banner that says, JC says the Mets are pound scum this week in 1987. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my good friend Harry Parker and the ultimate seafood dining experience at Gulf Shores, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores offering a unique dining experience with a vast, mouth-watering menu of all of your favorite delicious dishes, something for everyone's taste or palate. 3 convenient locations, Edwardville, Creve Coeur, and St. Peter's. Dine in, carry out. They've got a food truck, too. Friendly staff, looking forward to seeing you, making your dining experience one you will remember. Gulf Shores RestaurantandGrill.com.
Every 40 seconds, a child disappears. That's 2,000 children every single day. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization fighting to bring them home, but we can't do it without you. Your unwanted car, running or not, can help find missing kids, reunite families, and support the search and rescue efforts that protect children every day. We'll pick it up fast and free with a 24-hour response, and your donation may qualify for a tax deduction. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help locate missing children and educational programs that teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators before it's too late. Together, we can give families hope and bring children home where they belong. Donate your car today and help bring a child home. Find the Children, because every child deserves to come home.
800-757-1340. 800-757-1340. That's 800-757-1340.
This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I finally watched some of that video of the whole shouting match that happened at the St. Louis County Council meeting the other day.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got thoughts. let me preview them here, and then I talked to one of the council members, one of the people who's actually there, and I looked at the video and I looked at the news reports. I'm not going to say that the whole thing was staged by Sam Page, but I think he ginned up a conflict that did not need to be there. I think he created chaos where none existed.
Oh, come on.
That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me, because the reality is that the funding for the nurses for the duties of the healthcare and the jail, that was never in question. The process was in place and it was taking longer than they thought, but it sure looked like Sam Page put on a show and coordinated a show more than anything else. That's what this looks like, because you got these people who are reading off these talking points like people are going to die and they're going to lose their health care because this is a dereliction of your duty. You're responsible for this kind of stuff. But no one was arguing against that. Nobody was arguing against funding when there are legal duties for nurses and medical professionals in jails and things like that. I mean, there's like 1,200 people who are at any given time held in jail in St. Louis County alone, between the juvenile detention center and the adult one as well. So I'm just kind of looking at all this, and after 30 years of experience in communications and media and things like that, and in policy, Sam Page was putting on a show. For some reason, Sam Page doesn't realize he's already yesterday's news, and he doesn't want to let go.
That would explain why he would pick a fight, maybe.
Yeah, it was completely needless. And when I watched the video, Rita Her Days was taking charge because she's the chair of the county council. Sam Page was trying to assert that he's in charge. Not at the county council meetings, he's not. No. He's a guest at those meetings. He's allowed to be there, but it's not like he's the mayor at the city government meeting where the mayor is the executive. Well, he is the executive of the county, but this is the county council meeting. And he basically tried to take over, and Rita Her Days was like, I don't think so.
There seems to be a consistent pattern of him just not respecting the hierarchy of how things are supposed to be. I mean, between just thinking he can do whatever he wants, regardless of what the charter says, to now all of a sudden he doesn't respect the position of the chair.
Well, here's what's funny is because at one point he goes, the charter allows me to speak on these things. I'm like, oh, now you give a crap what the charter says? You're literally dealing with a criminal trial for violating the charter. You know, in multiple different ways. You've got another investigation, ethics debate. So now you care what the charter says.
Now it
really
matters.
Hey, Sam Page, and I say this with all due respect, shut the F up because you don't deserve any respect.
You have to conduct yourself in a dignified way if you want people
Right.
to respect you and take you more seriously, and then give you maybe a little bit more leniency or privileges when it comes to stuff like that.
It's just stupid. So we'll go into more depth on that just a little bit later. And I've got some of the audio from the actual meeting that happened.
Oh, I'm excited.
As well. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I know we got some rain in the forecast. Don't care. We're going to party anyway.
Woo! Yeah.
So, tomorrow in Cottleville at Frankie Martin's Garden. Now, listen, the entire Frankie Martin's Garden, this is not we are at the event. This is not, we're not doing a complete takeover unless enough of y'all show up. We're going to be under the main pavilion. So we're going to have a roof over our head. So if it rains, it rains. I don't care. We're going to be out there. We're going to have a good time. Frankie Martin's Gardens. We're going to talk to some of their folks later on today. They're going to have food trucks. I think there's a bar up there. So if you want to go get yourself some food and drinks, I'm going to do that. And so we're going to have a good time. Retro Nerds are going to be playing. If you've never seen them, it is so much fun. So much fun. Have you ever seen them perform yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So much fun. You're going to be just having a great time. And what a perfect band to have at our celebration because they were at our first birthday party. And we had a great time then. We're going to have a great time tomorrow. If it rains, whatever. But then again, we've had forecasts that have not panned out quite a bit lately. So we're going to be there. We're not calling this thing off. So I hope y'all come on out, say hi. Hopefully I'll scout out which food trucks are the ones to check out and grab because I'm bringing some money and I'm going to be doing the food truck thing. And so we're going to have a great time out there. So come on out. Details are at newstalkstl.com.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
Do you know why I endorse Cafe Napoli, all the locations? Visit any of them, and you will quickly appreciate the quality of food, service, atmosphere. So maybe I'll see you at Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli Kirkwood, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Or maybe you'll find me at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. Now you know why I endorse Napoli, NapoliSTL.com.
Hey, firearms enthusiast, looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green, and online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
Before you trust someone with your money, make sure they're properly registered and qualified to give investment advice. Before you invest, get the facts. I'm Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Our office regulates investing and works to protect investors. Call the Missouri Securities Hotline at 800-721-7996 or visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. Paid for by the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is a public service announcement.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Desperate search for survivors now underway in earthquake-shattered Venezuela. Numerous buildings in the capital Caracas have collapsed after two powerful quakes. A magnitude 7.2 and a 7.5 struck one right after the other, followed by a series of aftershocks. Those who could fled into the streets, their world crashing down around them.
All the walls were cracked. We managed to open the door, but there was a cloud of smoke, so we couldn't see much. When we went downstairs, it was like a scene from a horror movie. I only saw the building superintendent with a baby and one family from that building get out.
A survivor heard through a BBC translator. At least 164 people are dead, hundreds injured. The Caracas airport is no more, reduced to rubble. Venezuela has seen the most powerful quakes in more than 100 years, and the less powerful quakes have also rattled Northern California and parts of Japan. Happy birthday, America.
250 years of glorious American freedom.
On the National Mall in Washington Wednesday night, President Trump launched celebrations of the nation's founding with a campaign-style rally.
Just like those patriots of 1776 over the past 17 months, we have taken power back.
Touting a deal to end the Iran war, his border crackdown.
We have reclaimed our sovereignty, regained our liberty, restored our prosperity, and we have saved our country.
Recalling the creation of national landmarks like the Washington Monument.
We are likewise building new monuments to American greatness to serve every future president and First Lady. We're building the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, right at the White House.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
Wall Street may open sharply higher later this morning. Dow futures up 130 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 650. Townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. This month, 1950, we entered a police action. My dad says it was a war.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
Now would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
You know, I've been in office, and budget time is the most excruciatingly boring time of what you do, but it's also arguably the most important thing what you do at a local government.
Sure.
And this week we covered the story of this basically shouting match over some spending on nurses in the jails in St. Louis County.
Yeah. And not even so much about the idea of it, but about the process of it.
Right. And so I talked to one of the council members yesterday. I watched the video of the debacle.
Okay.
And I've got thoughts.
Was it spicy?
It really was. Oh,
Oh.
I've got some receipts here
Okay,
for it. Yeah.
good, good
No,
news.
it really was. So the St. Louis Council, they finished the process and they approved the spending for the nurses in the jails. Now, it turns out there was actually just a little bit more than what they thought they were going to. They were going to do like $2.89 million. It turned out to be basically a flat $3 million. So a little bit more. You've got almost 24 contract nurses. And then you've obviously got the other related supplies and medical stuff that goes on. This is not really a controversial thing.
No. I mean, it's a service you have to provide,
Right.
and you want it to be adequate. You want it to be, if people are
Right.
rendering medical care of some sort, they need to be, properly trained and know what they're doing. And
Right. Yeah, you
provide
need
adequate care.
professionals. Yeah, because you're also in a higher risk environment. So there was never a question that really this was going to be funded or not. I talked to Mark Harder yesterday,
Mhm.
just here in the studio. And, he was like, no, of course this was going to be funded. But we had questions on how and where the money was going to go. It was a process thing. We meet with all the department heads,
Right.
and it's just the way it goes. So Sam Page decides to try to take over the council meeting. We talked about this a lot yesterday. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I wasn't at the meeting, but I'm going to go just watch it. And I watched a lot of the video. I didn't watch the entire meeting, but I watched enough. I watched the spicy part where they ended
Mhm.
up, throwing most everybody out of there, clearing the room. That was an audience that looked ginned up. I'm not going to go as far as to say it was like totally staged like pro wrestling, but it seems incredibly odd to me that there's a bunch of activist groups that suddenly showed up with almost the exact same talking points. So, and they matched Sam Page's foot stomping and attempted virtue signaling. I think that he or his supporters went and got them ginned up and saying, we got to come and make a scene here. We got to come embarrass the council.
Yeah, well, I don't think obviously people were there with that, that item point like in their minds, like to address it. This wasn't an organic situation where there's people just there in attendance just to watch the meeting and happen to get motivated because of what's being. No, I agree with you that. I mean, this was an organized protest isn't the right word necessarily.
No. Because I think it's good that we in this country get to have a say on these things.
Absolutely.
And you can network and say, hey, they're going to do this. Come on, show up. Now, basically, leftists, kind of do that more in St. Louis County than anybody on the conservative side does. Okay, bully for them. I mean, that's fine. That's what the time's for. The council should hear from people. But I also think we can look and go, you know what? That wasn't just concerned citizens showing up. Those are activist groups and that sort of thing. Not that they don't have a right to speak, but this just looked like there was more coordination. And then Sam Page attempting basically to take over, saying, I'm the executive here, except it's not his meeting. He's a guest at the meeting. So here's part of what happened. This is like when it was kind of starting up and heating up. Saying, I'm the executive here. Uh-oh. It sounds like my Rumble is because I'm monitoring Rumble. Yep, there it is. I got it. For some reason, it turns itself on. It turns the sound on there. So
yeah.
All right.
Well, it's the AI overlords.
It did.
I have a story about that, by the way.
Okay. Here's part of where Rita Hurd Days, the chair of the county council, and Sam Page get into it, and he is so freaking arrogant.
Let me just say this.
There it is. Let me go back here. That's correct. Here we go.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
If you would let
cut
her
his
speak.
mic off, please, because at this particular time, I said no. You cannot speak.
The charter
This
allows
is-
me to speak on
Excuse-
topics, Madam Chair.
Okay, so now Sam Page cares what the charter says.
Oh, that's the most animated I've ever heard him.
Yeah.
I love it.
And his body language was so arrogant. I mean, he's like, I'm going to laugh down at you. I'm like, no, dude, you're irrelevant here.
Right.
And the funny part is the charter allows me. Wait a minute. Now you care what the charter says,
no,
Sam?
Exactly.
Really?
Now that's all righty.
You've been wantonly violating the charter for years to the point where we've literally passed charter amendments that essentially say, no, Sam, we mean it.
Mm-hmm.
It's here, but we mean it. It applies to you. You're dealing with a massive ethics investigation for violating the charter knowingly, and the documentation is there. And you're dealing with a criminal trial for violating state law and the charter. So now you care what the charter says.
Isn't that interesting?
Shut up. Oh, my goodness. Here's a little more of the whole spiel.
I get to speak.
This is not your
Madam Chair, can we please have the county executive removed from the
Please,
meeting?
please,
Have your security argue with mine? Come on.
Yeah. So that's yeah. So that happened.
I love it.
I know. And of course, the Channel 4 also showed a bunch of the people who were speaking on the issue, which is fine. That's coverage. But they were all like, this is a dereliction of duty. People are going to die. People are going to lose their health care. No, that was never going to be the case. Now, first of all, if they didn't want to be in a position you're worried about them losing their health care in jail, maybe we should rethink some other life choices, but that's a separate discussion.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But they, the thing was, and then later on Channel 4 story, they pointed out Rita Hurd Days, who was really pissed off. She's saying, every single member, head of these agencies, they meet with us. We meet with them. We go over the numbers. It's just the process.
Right.
And we haven't met with Dr. Cunningham from Health Services. And then, of course, Sam Page had a press conference where they were decrying the council, and they had Tamika Cunningham.
What was the big argument? Did they think that
There wasn't. There wasn't an argument. That's the thing. There wasn't an argument over it. The council, the same thing they do with everybody else, and this is a Democratic majority council. They do the same thing with everybody else. They're like, okay, we're going to go over the numbers spreadsheet before we spend millions of dollars. Let's just make sure we're all on the same page where this is at, no pun intended.
So it wasn't even like they were making noises about maybe like making severe cuts in this or taking it away. What a bunch of baloney.
Right. Yeah, there was none of that. And Dr. Cunningham there, she at the press conference was like, these people don't know when their process is broken. There is no broken process. It's a budget. I mean, and so...
What was she saying was broken?
Their process was broken.
Did she specify what?
No. I mean,
well, she sounds like she's part of the problem too. Then.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's obviously going to be an acolyte to Sam Page, which is a terrible career move. Just so you know, Dr. Cunningham, he ain't going to be in that office in 7 months.
Don't hit your wagon to that horse.
No, people are already bailing like crazy out of his administration, which makes sense. I mean, hey, you're a career bureaucrat or whatever the case is, and you're like, if I get a job offer, I got to go because this job has an end date on it because whoever the next county executive is, they're not going to want the stench of Sam Page anywhere near, whether it's Dennis Hancock or Brian Williams or Jake Zimmerman. It doesn't matter. They're not going to want the stench of Sam Page. They're not going to want these holdovers.
No. Yeah, I don't know. That just seems, it's humorous from an objective observer standpoint, I guess. I'm no longer a St. Louis County resident, but so it doesn't directly affect me.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't understand Sam Page.
No, and what it comes down to is this is Sam Page, not just being incompetent, but this is Sam Page creating chaos where none needs to exist.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a controversy over funding the nurses.
Right.
It didn't exist. So this is him simply finding a way to cause a conflict and direct the attention to where he can stomp his feet and show everybody who's in charge. And when he does that, it just reminds us, you're not in charge, Sam.
Yeah.
And you haven't been for a long time.
Well, annoying to say the least, but amusing.
Yeah, it is amusing. Yeah.
It's both. So President Trump wants to stop most mail-in voting. The post office says they'll refuse to deliver some ballots. We're going to get into that at 6:20.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now!
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Always be yourself, unless you suck.
On News Talk STL.
Right now, before you blow us all away.
This is the perfect time to say, you know what, buying houses, selling houses, not really moving the way that it has at other times in our economy, but boy, you can do a lot with your own home. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at STL FenceWorks, STLFenceWorks.com. Listen, they specialize in beautiful decks, solid materials, guaranteed workmanship, and of course, those fences that add so much character and security to your property, whether it's safety for your animals, your kids, or just that look of your property. I mean, you've walked around the neighborhoods. We have so many beautiful neighborhoods in St. Louis, and a lot of times you look at that outdoor living space, you say, I wish I had a deck like that. Let me tell you something. You don't get a deck like that by saying, oh, my brother's cousin's buddy's neighbor knows somebody who does decks. They can probably do it really cheap. They'll just run down to the home improvement store and grab some wood, and we'll have you done in a day. You can pay us some pizza and beer. Don't do that. Go to STL FenceWorks. It's going to be affordable. Matter of fact, click on the estimate button at STLFenceWorks.com, and you can get a preview of what your fencing is going to look like around your home and what the ballpark's going to be. But American-made materials, American crews, and that is guaranteed work. There's a difference. Find out why. STLFenceWorks.com.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Hey, Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management. Tune in this Sunday. We've got special guest Danny Liston joining us in the studio for the Serenity Wealth Now show. Danny Liston with Mama's Pride, musician, local to St. Louis, and we're going to learn about the business that takes place behind rock and roll. Tune in this Sunday, Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets, or right here on News Talk STL. We'll see you then.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitandtackle.net.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
In our continuing SRN News special series, Faith and Freedom, saluting the upcoming 250th birthday of the United States of America, House Speaker Mike Johnson notes that he was recently criticized on some national TV networks for invoking the name of God in our nation's Declaration of Independence. As he looks ahead to next month's 4th of July celebration, he says,
"Is Speaker Johnson putting God above the Declaration?" I was literally quoting from the Declaration itself. "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal." You know, it's our Creator that gives us our rights. But the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world gives us all a grand opportunity to point people back to the founding, back to those principles, and encourage them to go and read and understand it so that we can indeed keep the Republic.
Speaker Johnson adds that the 250th birthday of America is a perfect time for Americans to gather with family and friends and pray for our nation's next 250 years. This is SRN News.
All right, do the ends justify the means? Post office says it's not going to deliver some mail-in ballots, at least as things stand now. I want to get into that. I think this is an interesting, I understand the tactic being used, but I think there's a bigger picture question that I think we should be asking on this as well. 6:20 right now. All right, wrapping up our conversation with on the Sam Page thing.
Yeah, our friend Scott's just got a quick question.
Yeah, Scott, you're on the air. What do you think?
Hey, good morning, folks. That $3 million divided by what, 22 or 25 nurses?
20. I think it's 23. Yeah.
20. Okay, 120 something, 130,000 apiece. Has that been shopped around to see if they can get a better deal? I know a lot of nurses that don't make $10,000 a month.
Yeah, no, but that's not just for the nurses. That's also the other costs of the healthcare as well. So, yeah, the nurses' contracts are part of that, but they're spending on more than just the nurses on that.
Excellent. Hey, and one thing maybe interviewers could do with the socialists that are now in power, ask them what makes them proud about being in the U.S. And see what kind of answers they give.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Scott,
Have
appreciate
a great
that.
one, folks.
Thanks,
Love
Scott.
the show. Peace.
Thank you so much. Yes. It's like our comrades.
Put them on the spot. Ask those questions.
That's right.
I like it.
You know, there's somebody out there. Like, the thing I love most about America is I love hating America inside America.
That's and I love that you've got the freedom.
Exactly.
To do that.
Exactly.
You know why? America. Okay. Yeah. You've seen this. The obviously the whole thing over mail-in votes and the corruption and, shall we say, questions of over the validity of the results in the states that have the mail-in votes. So you've got this big back and forth with the Trump administration and blue states, essentially. Majority of blue states. I can't even say all blue states, but the main blue states. And so the president issued a directive to the post office basically to say, find a way to get in the way of these mail-in ballots on these states that won't contribute to the national database. And so what's going on now is that the Postmaster General has now announced that, let me go to the right page on the news here. So the Postmaster General is announcing that the USPS will not deliver mail-in ballots in states that refuse to provide voter registration data to the federal government under the president's proposed administration rules on those things. Okay, so I think there's a couple different things. I think we're grown up enough to say there are a couple different issues here. Do we have massive problems and in election integrity concerns with mail-in ballots? 100%.
Yes.
President's absolutely right about that. Republicans have been right about that for a long time. Conservatives have been right about it longer than Republicans were. So, yes, absolutely 100%. At the same time, I'm just going to step in the line of fire here and say, do we want the president directing the post office to say, deliver that mail, don't deliver that mail because I've got policy goals?
I think it raises a fair question.
Yeah.
And I think it all has to come back to what the law does and doesn't provide for. Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, there's the whole, we've talked about this already, there's the tension between what the states govern versus what the federal government governs. And let's keep in mind, we're talking about the U.S. Postal Service. So it automatically invokes the federal government's involvement. And then you've got the issue about whether or not this is something, the proper role of the executive versus the legislative branches. Obviously, there are laws and regulations in place that were put in place by Congress. I don't know that there's an easy answer to it. I know that this administration is basically saying, okay, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
The ultimate objective is to shore up election integrity and not have mail-in ballots be the avenue through which fraudulent votes are cast and counted.
Right.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal. And so, whatever safeguards they can put in place to help prevent that from happening, go for it. Now, they may end up being slapped down. I wrote a piece yesterday about 2 different judges slapping down different aspects of the election integrity push by this administration. Those will go up on appeal. But so it's a never-ending battle. But so I don't fault them for saying, okay, well, listen, we oversee the U.S. Postal Service. We have a certain amount of leeway with what we can instruct as far as our guidance and agenda. So we're going to do it. Now, so much of this would be solved if Congress would actually function.
Yeah, 100%. Now, when I look at the post office, literally they have one job. Literally, they have one job that they do sometimes. They have one job. You pay to put this thing here, and it goes over here. That's their job. That's it. Do you want them saying, ooh, but what is this you want me to send? We're not talking about we're going to scan for something illegal like, explosives or drugs or whatever. But do we want to put the post office in that enforcement sort of policy goal sort of thing to look and say, ooh, that might be some bad votes. No, we're going to hold off on that. Oh, it's going to that state? No. That's the bigger thing, because the way I look at this now is the President Trump's not going to be, historically speaking, not going to be president that much longer.
Right.
He's in his second term. We're approaching the midpoint of his last term in office. Everything that he's leveraging for the federal government is a precedent that the next president is going to have at his or her disposal. And there is a chance that there is going to be a Democratic president elected in 2028 or 2032. So that's why I want everybody to go, let's be a little skeptical here. Do we want to say, no matter what, let's look at what the law and the loopholes allow, and so therefore it's okay, versus, is that really how you want to leverage the federal government?
Yeah, and I think that this speaks to Trump's approach to so many things, and it goes to his background. I mean, when you're talking about the real estate world, you're going to push the envelope. You're going to try everything that you can, short of the illegal stuff that's going to get you thrown in jail. You're going to see what loopholes are there. You're going to see if there's another way around it, and that's what's going on here. I agree with you. This isn't, I don't think, the proper way to go about it, but it may push the conversation enough that the proper way is then ultimately, put in place.
Right.
We're going to have some, this isn't directly on this, but one of the Supreme Court cases that's going to be decided either today or next Tuesday, or maybe potentially one other day, it has to do with the deadline for mail-in ballots. Now that doesn't directly address this issue, but that this is part of the conversation. So This is one that I don't think that I don't foresee this holding up. This is going to be challenged in court if the suit hasn't already been filed. It's coming today. Yeah. And it probably won't hold up. And this isn't one that I see the Supreme Court saying, yeah, you can do this. But I also don't necessarily fault them for saying, okay, we're going to kind of do like all hands on deck, all avenues open. We'll see what we can do. And if we're told that we can't, then we don't.
So here's the thing that I would also challenge everybody is when the next Democratic president takes a similar approach, are we going to in turn respond and go, well, it's just what the law allows? I mean, I don't blame
Absolutely
them
not.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to
We're
have
going to pull our hair out and scream about it.
Right.
This is the way it works. But all of it comes back to the fact that we have given way too much power to the executive and the Congress has completely abdicated its role because it's too busy doing its sound bites and its viral media moments and its little back and forth stuff instead of functioning like an actual legislative body.
Yeah. Yeah. The root of the problem here is 100% blue states want to cheat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the root of the problem.
Yeah.
So I get this. I just sometimes look at the question, do the ends always justify the means? And I don't think they do, not even so much because I want to be holier than thou and super ethical, even at the expense of doing the right thing or not. I'm looking at what kind of weaponry are you...
Right. What are you teeing up for the next guy?
Proverbial weaponry that you're handing to the next president.
Right. No, that's absolutely a fair way to look at it, I think.
That's my concern.
Dave's got some concerns about this as well.
All right, Dave, what do you think, Dave? You're on News Talk STL.
Well, first of all, happy belated Father's Day, Mike.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, you guys bring up a great point, but let's flip the script. Let's put the Republicans in charge, or the Democrats in charge, and the Republicans on the mail-in ballots. Mm-hmm. Now, if they were to ask the Republicans/conservatives, hey, turn over your rolls, we want to check them. Well, first of all, if the Republicans, they're going to use mail-in ballots, they're going to make sure they're legal and proper and done right. And second of all, if they are going to use them again, they're going to turn them over. So I see the road you're going down, and I don't totally disagree with you, but we all know that they're cheating, and that's why they're saying no.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm more worried about, do we want to sort of policy weaponize branches of the government that can barely do their one job in the first place, which is the post office?
Well, Mike, maybe but what are you saying, that they're going to be in charge of stopping these ballots, making sure they don't get delivered?
That's exactly what the president's ordered. That's exactly what the Postmaster General said. He said, in these states, if they don't cooperate with the president, we will not deliver these ballots. We will hold them. We will freeze them.
Well, that's not hard. They can't get the mail delivered anyway, so that's right up their alley.
Just keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Why didn't you deliver that, Postmaster General? Well, it's Wednesday. What do you think?
Well, no, you guys bring a great point up. I personally, I think if they are, to me, it's like them delivering drugs. Okay, I know it's comparing apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. It's like them delivering drugs. If they're delivering illegal ballots, which are cheating, to me, it's breaking the law. You're committing a crime, which you should be subject to. I would say maybe like Susie. Now, here's where you come in. Would that be considered wire fraud, or is wire fraud over like the internet and stuff like that?
Well, it could be mail. I mean, there is such a thing as mail fraud. Mm-hmm. So that absolutely. I think that's something worth looking into.
That's an interesting point, Dave. I had not thought of it that way. That's an interesting point.
I would suspect there's somebody in the DOJ, maybe in the Postal Inspection Service type area, that's looking at that as well. But yeah, if there's something illegal or fraudulent about what's being put in the mail, that gives it a different angle.
That's an interesting
right there.
Hey, Dave, thanks so much. I mean, and then of course we could go down whatever rabbit trail. It's like, you know what, that solicitation from the credit card company could be fraudulent. Should we stop? And so, but that's a good. I had not thought of it that way. That's interesting.
That gives an avenue of approach, but that doesn't necessarily justify like completely prohibiting the delivery. If that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see.
Don't elect cheaters. We solve the problem.
Hey, how about that?
That would be so simple, yet so complicated for some reason. I would just like to remind everybody real quick, it's the last day for you to submit your patriotic America 80s theme bump music. I've gotten a lot of really good requests, but we still have room for more. So send me your patriotic 80s theme bump music for Flashback Friday to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Was it Camellia who said, please send lots of Lee Greenwood songs? Oh, no. Wait a minute. She said, please no. Never mind.
She's
Sorry.
going to get you for that, Mike.
Sorry, Camellia.
She's
Sorry.
going to get you for that.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Someone in that control room is out of control.
On News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Hi, Sandy. What's that?
I'm reading up on this Amendment 4 on the August ballot.
What's 4?
Amendment 4 absurdly creates a new un-American minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that we citizens put on the ballot.
Don't they say it'll protect conservative ideas?
Truth gets in the way of their story. Amendment 4 would mean as few as 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one congressional district could veto any good conservative idea or reform, even when a big majority supports it.
That does sound un-American. How did that get on the ballot?
The politicians put it there, and it would empower a small minority of liberals. They could stop funding for police, stop tax cuts, or any other common sense conservative policy we support.
Only 5%? One district? That would make it nearly impossible to pass needed reforms or rein in politicians.
Yep, Amendment 4 is a misguided power grab by politicians. I'm voting no on Amendment 4.
Right. I'm not giving up my constitutional rights. It's a hard no on 4.
Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
Producer Joey V of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show here, reminding you, don't waste a buck on movies that suck. Listen to Joey V's Movies Fridays at 5:45 for reviews you can trust. Brought to you by Harry J. Steakhouse, Freddy's Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and Best Buy Flooring.
This 4th of July, America turns 250, and there's no better way to celebrate than lighting up the sky with Brockmeyer Fireworks. Family owned and run by a proud entrepreneur, Brockmeyer Fireworks has everything you need for a night your family will never forget. Find us in the Rec Hall parking lot, 800 South Duchesne Drive in St. Charles. Brockmeyer Fireworks. Let us be a part of your family's 4th of July. Celebrate America's 250th with a bang. Brockmeyer Fireworks. Rec Hall parking lot, 800 South Duchesne Drive in St. Charles.
America turns 250 this year.
Happy 250th birthday.
And News Talk STL turns 5.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, News Talk.
Here's to 250 years of freedom and 5 years of St. Louis's #1 for conservative talk. News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, it's Chris Salcedo, your liberty-loving Latino on Newsmax. Hey, everybody likes Mike. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Make sure you check it out. News Talk STL.
There are a lot of layers to like drum and percussion going on there. Are you just like biased towards the percussion heavy stuff because you're a drummer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
Legit.
I'm not the biggest Zeppelin fan, but John Bonham's just fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Missouri's government is going to dig into the rules about data centers.
Okay.
Not right away, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So about an hour from now, we're going to talk to State Representative Tricia Byrnes.
Mhm.
She was among those who signed on to the letter asking for a special session to deal with data center, rules and development and land use and utilities and all that
Sure.
kind of stuff. So Governor Keogh did not put out like an actual like press release statement, but his spokespeople, Gabby, did respond to the media saying the governor looks forward to working with the legislature to, go through these issues and comb through them basically in the next regular session. So he's not going to call a special session to deal with data centers. As much of a lightning rod issue as this is, and I know that I don't think Representative Byrnes is going to agree with me on this, but I think that's the prudent move by the governor. Now, the governor, I think his approach is going to be Mid-Missouri alone, that's about $25 billion in investment coming into the area.
Right.
You've got a $6 billion proposal in Festus, which the local community is very split on. Lincoln County, I don't know how many billions of dollars are involved in the proposal there. Warrenton has, one as well. On the Illinois side, you've got Troy, Illinois, Granite City, all these others. And so basically these data center projects are there for the picking with just about any area that is willing to put them in. And so basically Amazon, whoever else, Google, whoever else that's doing all these, they're basically saying, we really want to build these things and we're willing to spend a lot of money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In almost any other era, the economic development people go, please come here, and they roll out the red carpet. Well, there's more to it than this.
Right.
There are legitimate questions, a lot of very legitimate questions that have to be answered. And this isn't a fad. This isn't a trend.
No.
This is the next era. And so the decisions being made right now are the decisions that are going to lay the groundwork for the next 25, 30, 50 years.
Exactly.
And so when the governor is saying, yes, let's talk about it, but let's talk about it when we have 5 months to do it, as opposed to calling a special session, trying to come up with something in a week or two. I think that's the smart move. Now, Governor Keogh is basically saying, bring on the data centers. He's saying, yes, local governments should have the say or not say, but he's absolutely saying, let's take the investment, let's take the jobs, let's do it, while he's not objected to local communities saying no, but he's not going to jump in and say, we're going to have a statewide set of rules right now.
I think that, to me, that's the right move, because I think this is something that's going to take, it's going to be a process. It's going to take time to kind of work through. Billy Crow has described to us the effort that they put into it on the Jefferson County Council to educate themselves about it all and try and put in place the best set of guidelines they could come up with. This is something that's going to take work. It's going to take time. And if they called a special session just to do that from the state perspective, I think there would be pressure to do something quickly and put something up that might not actually be what's best for the state. Right. Okay, they've got lead time now. If they know this is going to be a pressing issue for the next regular session, why not put in place the study groups? I realize that they're not full-time legislators, but in their off time, aren't they able to, that was me, I think, doing that. Aren't they able to, I was messing with the cord. Yep. Aren't they able to do some stuff, like get together, do study group kind of things? And
when the annual veto session happens in September, there is going to be a committee hearing to address some of these and at least take in some of that information. Now, if they had debated a big data center regulatory thing in the regular session and couldn't get it across the finish line, that would be a situation where that would make sense to say, let's wrap this up, because this technology is moving at breakneck speed. And my understanding of the data centers and, people who have been around them and in them, like Kirk Hilsinger and some of the others, know a lot more about it, but they're obviously complicated computer systems, but the construction of these isn't that complicated.
Right.
They're great, big, extra secure, strong barn dominiums, basically, is what these things are. And then the computer system that you put together somewhere else is shipped in and plugged in and then connected and all that sort of thing. And then, you've got the cooling system with the water and all that, but they're not particularly complex to build.
No. The structures.
The physical structures themselves are not. So they can go up pretty fast, as compared to, we're going to build a new, office complex or apartment complex.
Right, just like warehouses.
Right.
They spring up like flowers.
Yeah.
Only they don't quite look as pretty.
No, they don't. So this is why it is, I think both sides are right to say, we need to make sure that everybody knows where their lane is. What are we going to allow? What are we not going to allow? And why? And then to say, okay, if we're going to do that, let's do it right, as opposed to doing it fast.
The other thing is, and I think you've kind of alluded to this, is there's different considerations at the state level than there will be at the local municipal level. The bottom line is the state is going to have some role. It needs to have some role in it. Particularly when you're talking about
utilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you don't want it micromanaging the situation either. There just needs to kind of be like a broad framework, and obviously different areas of the state are going to have different needs, and So it needs to be something that's broad enough to accommodate the fact that you've got more rural settings and you've got, suburban settings and that sort of thing.
Okay, so and this may offend some of my libertarian sensibilities on this, but when it comes to the government's role in consumer protection, for instance, does the state have a role? Like, would the legislature be in the proper place to say, utility companies or the local deals, you're not allowed to pass on the cost of any of this to residential or business ratepayers? I mean, to regulate how that goes, or is that a matter of let the local governments figure it out? If they want to do incentives and they want to work out a deal, let them do it. And that's an open-ended question.
I'm not sure about that because I've got competing thoughts on that. I don't have an easy answer to that, but it's something that maybe the state should be considering whether or not that's its role.
So the bottom line is the first thing before state lawmakers can step in and decide what to regulate, and what to not regulate, the state government needs to figure out what's the state government's job and what's their role.
Yeah.
Because you also have, for instance, you look in Festus, the city government, their questions and their role on this is pretty obvious. Now you can like or not like what they did or what they're doing, but they've got the authority to deal with it that way.
Because government's so good at figuring out what its lane is, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But is local government better than state government when it comes to that sort of thing?
I think when it comes to the specifics of specific projects, specific detailed legislation, the broader framework probably does need to have the state's involvement. And I just don't know where that line is, but that's something that should be hashed out.
Because most development stuff, you don't want the state government micromanaging down.
Oh, no.
It's like, hey, we want to build a new office complex. Well, we better ask Jefferson City. No, it's none of Jefferson City's business. These involve a whole different set of things, though.
Correct.
It's a whole different thing.
Has anyone asked for Sam Page's input on this? Just curious. I mean, he wants to be in charge. He's got some opinions about things, right?
Yeah. It's going to be funny to see after he's done with his time in office here in 7 months or whatever.
But who's counting?
Yeah, but who's counting? He's, by the way, the Attorney General's not going to move on the request to throw him out of office. Catherine Hanaway's office is like, you guys
like gravity work.
We'll let the courts and let the time run out on this. And either he just goes back to being a doctor and he fades away, which I think his ego is so big, I don't think he's going to do that. I wonder if he's going to be one of those who's going to decide, I'm going to set up a consulting firm. I'm going to stay in, it's like, Sam,
you do that.
Your own party can't stand you, dude. Your own party. So
something tells me that wouldn't necessarily be a very lucrative gig, but you never know.
By the way, 7:35, State Representative Tricia Byrnes is going to be with us here to go over, because this data center, I know it's complicated, it's in the weeds, but it matters. It's big stuff. So we're going to get her take in about 45 minutes.
Also, the Cardinals announced a change to their front office. We've got that story in the news dump coming up at 6:50.
No matter how I try, I find my way to the same old jam.
All right, when you're thinking about doing some improvements to your house, particularly something like windows, you want to make sure that you're dealing with a company that is going to provide good customer service and great quality products. And that's why I want to talk to you about Window World. They're one of only 2 replacement windows with a Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Plus, they're ranked number 1 in the country for a number of windows sold by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They've been doing this for over 20 years, helping to improve the look and energy efficiency of more than 80,000 homes right here in St. Louis. And the St. Louis location has been owned, operated, and managed by born and raised St. Louisans for more than 23 years. So if you're kind of thinking it might be time for new windows, you can call today. Get a free home estimate at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. What I like about Window World is the product itself. Their windows are durable, they're secure, they're energy efficient, they're built with double-strength glass that you don't typically see in replacement windows. Plus, you're covered by a lifetime warranty that includes parts, glass breakage, and labor. That's a big deal. They don't just do windows either. Window World can also help with siding and doors, basically everything on the exterior of your home except for your roof or your garage door. And here's something a lot of companies don't offer, as I was talking about, customer service. Their customer service team is available 7 days a week. That includes weekends. Their commitment to customer service shows. Over half of their appointments come from repeat customers or referrals. They're also big in the community. They've raised over $4 million over the years for charities like Action for Autism and St. Jude. Plus, they're the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. And right now, they're offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you've been putting it off, now is a great time to act. Call Window World at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Looking for a great place to play golf and host your next event? Sugar Creek Golf Course in High Ridge is more than just exceptional golf. Our clubhouse is the perfect spot for private parties, family get-togethers, and unforgettable celebrations. Make your special day even better with our welcoming atmosphere and outstanding service. Visit SugarCreekGolfCourse.com for more information. That's SugarCreekGolfCourse.com, where great golf and great memories meet. SugarCreekGolfCourse.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Real quick, I guess in the World Cup, Team USA is playing today.
Is it today?
I think it's today. They're playing, is it Turkey? I think they're playing today. Like most Americans, I've not really followed along with it too much, but I think they're playing today. But apparently in the regional or whatever round it is, they've done so well that the U.S. is moving on to the single elimination part of it no matter what.
They are going to the round of 32.
Yes, which is what they call the knockout round.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of what happens with their next game, they've already qualified for that.
Yes, they're playing Turkey.
It is Turkey.
At 9 p.m.
Okay, so they're doing that today. A little bit later, because honestly, there's I think a lot of people like, oh, we should probably cheer for Team USA, even though I don't care about international soccer.
Why wouldn't
you? Well, of course, I found a little primer to help us.
Oh, okay,
a little bit
good.
later on that,
Good.
and so it's going to kind of be up your alley too, as well,
Perfect.
with Susie. So, all right, so 6:50 here. I just want to put that out there that we're here to help, and so we're going to help. All right, Missouri's lawmakers will debate data centers and the next wave of big tech, but not right away. I'll just give you the basic details in case you just missed that conversation we had. And is the Great American State Fair basically a MAGA rally at this point?
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, that's a separate question, but yeah, true. And the Cardinals hope to split their series with the Diamondbacks. All right, 6:51. Let's go ahead and do a news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Whistle Pig Outdoors.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, it looks like there will not be a special session to address big tech in Missouri. Governor Mike Kehoe says the legislature should take up the debate over data centers in 2027. Now, that's responding to a request for a special session. The governor's office says he's looking forward to addressing debates over regulation and development in the regular session, which begins in January. Among those who signed on to the letter calling for a special session was State Representative Tricia Byrnes. She's going to be on this program at 7:35. Okay, the St. Louis County Council approves funding for nurses and some limited primary health care services in the jail and the juvenile detention centers. Corey Stark from Channel 4 has the details.
This has been an explosive standoff between the county executive and council members. Now that the funding has been secured, nurses will be retain continuing primary care in the jail and preventing patients from being sent to area hospitals.
Okay, the $3 million funding plan was delayed earlier this week when council members had questions about the details of the spending. Really, it was routine stuff. It wasn't even like they were saying, hey, we might have something scandalous here. No, they just wanted to know where all the dollars were going to go and how it was going to work. The council chambers were cleared out on Tuesday when conflicts between activists in the audience and the council, and then conflicts between Executive Sam Page and some council members became very heated.
Mm-hmm. A little spicy.
It was spicy. It was they turned up the dumb.
I did enjoy listening to that.
I know.
Fracas.
We'll do it again here. And bonus points for saying fracas. That is an underrated word. We should use fracas more often.
We should.
So, yeah, Sam Page is like, hey, how dumb does this one go? And Sam Page is like, my dumb goes to 11. All right. On Tuesday, a California federal judge blocked Immigration and Customs Enforcement from arresting non-citizens, a.k.a. aliens, at courthouses, writing that the Justice Department and ICE didn't give sound reasoning for that policy. Senator Josh Hawley was on the Ingram Angle on Fox, and he obviously has some issue with that ruling.
I read it. This is not a judicial opinion. This is a left-wing screed claiming the authority of law.
Department of Homeland Security calls the order judicial activism. The plaintiff's attorney says it's tremendously significant and accusing the Trump administration of turning immigration courts into hunting grounds. If you're federal law enforcement and your job is to find illegal aliens, don't you kind of go where you know they're going to be?
You can't go the one place where they're going to be.
Where they know they're going to be.
Right. Well, and it wasn't even a decision that you can't. It was you didn't explain why you were going to do that in a way that I thought was sufficient.
Yeah, because
so therefore,
the ruling, was it about legal or illegal, or I just don't like your reasoning?
it was the latter, because it was you keep hearing about the APA. It's the Administrative Procedure Act. That is the statute under which a lot of these actions are being challenged, and it has to do with whether an agency has properly backed up its reasoning for changing a regulation or implementing a certain policy. So that gives the judges basically subjective, control over this and go, I don't think your reasoning was good enough here.
That doesn't feel right.
Yes, and that's what we're seeing happen.
Yeah. All right. The Small Business Administration recently launching the SBA Small Business Pledge. And this is inviting businesses to join in commemorating the 250th anniversary of the country. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler explaining on Fox Business's Mornings with Maria that the idea is to promote free enterprise and entrepreneurship, two things that obviously help build the U.S.
Free enterprise is what built this nation 250 years ago. It's what's going to build it for the next 250 years. We want to celebrate free enterprise and those builders, the doers, the makers, and invite them to sign the pledge to commit to building in America, hiring in America, and innovating in America.
Okay, so that's not... It's all voluntary, so I guess technically it's free market,
Right.
But macroeconomically... questionable, but we get the feeling. Among other things, businesses that sign the pledge will receive recognition as part of the U.S.'s 250th anniversary with the special special Freedom 250 certificate. We've only hired Americans here at the radio station. We should get one of those.
We should.
Yeah, Jeff.
We qualify.
Jeff, just to let you know.
I'm going to call up Kelly.
That's right. Okay. The Great America State Fair kicked off yesterday.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did. Did not kick off with a concert. It kicked off with President Trump addressing a big audience. It was a rally. President Trump headlining the Freedom 250's Great American State Fair after musical artists dropped out. He tells supporters that he has restored faith in the country and returned America to number one on the world stage.
We have reclaimed our sovereignty, regained our liberty, restored our prosperity, and we have saved our country. In all things, we're once again putting a thing called America first.
So the fair is going to go on for 16 days, and each day will honor part of the president's platform, like Maha Mondays. President Trump plans to hold a rally ahead of the Independence Day fireworks show. So is the Great American State Fair just basically become a MAGA rally?
I mean, I guess it has, but I feel like it's kind of a chicken and egg situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Because for all the people out there who are turning their little noses up at it and going about it, well, you know what? This is about celebrating our country, but people couldn't be part of it because, Trump. So
Thanks
screw
a lot,
you guys.
Thanks a lot, Martina McBride.
Screw you guys. Set off your fireworks.
It's all Martina McBride's fault.
Right.
All right. The Cardinals announced that Bill DeWitt III has been promoted to CEO, succeeding his father, Bill DeWitt Jr., who remains chairman and principal owner of the team. And we're going to chat with our friends from KMOV Sports about that, because that's actually pretty significant, because there was an effort for somebody outside the DeWitt family to buy that team.
Yeah.
The Cardinals lose to the Diamondbacks Wednesday night. Final score at Busch Stadium was 9-4. Final game of that series is tonight. Diamondbacks are ahead 2-1. Michael McGreevy getting the start for the Redbirds for this one.
Looking to celebrate the 4th of July with a bang? Then look no further than Powder Monkey Fireworks. We've got bottle rockets, fountains, cakes, mortars. Our selection is endless with low prices and no gimmicks. Our friendly, knowledgeable staff will help you choose the perfect fireworks to make your holiday unforgettable. You'll go bananas at Powder Monkey, Highway 94 in St. Charles, on Westwood in Weldon Spring, and on Brendel in Rocky Mount. Don't want to fight the crowds? Order online at powdermonkeyfireworks.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
The Laborers International Union of North America, Local 110, was formed in 1933 and from the beginning has strived for progress and the well-being of others. The laborers of Local 110 are hardworking men and women who take pride in their great work. They are the fastest growing union of construction workers and one of the most effective unions representing plants and quarries. Laborers Local 110 has the best medical benefits, pension, education, and heavy construction training in the market. Visit lu110.com and start your future today.
Hey, this is Chris Arps. If you enjoy a good cigar like I do, check out Dorset Cigar at 11396 Dorset Road in Maryland Heights. They'll help you find the perfect smoke, and they have a fantastic premium selection. Mention promo code NewsTalkSTL for 7% off. Visit DorsetCigar.com.
The news and talk.
What is this all about? It's very simple. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
That matters to St. Louis.
The final details for a possible agreement between the United States and Iran are still being discussed.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump says the U.S. stands ready to help Venezuela as it deals with a devastating natural disaster. It's killed at least 164 people, almost 1,000 injured.
Powerful back-to-back earthquakes struck Venezuela on Wednesday evening. The 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes collapsed buildings and sent panicked residents into the streets as communities across the South American country sustained damage. Buildings were evacuated in cities and areas were impacted as far as Brazil's Amazon, about 1,000 miles from Venezuela's capital. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez declared a state of emergency. The earthquakes, among the strongest to strike Venezuela in more than a century, occurred shortly after 6 p.m. local time. I'm Karen Shaman.
And less powerful quakes have rattled parts of Northern California and Japan. Just as President Trump predicted, oil prices are coming down now that the Iran war seems on its way to being resolved. But the president's upset that gas prices, also on the decline, remain stubbornly high, suggesting that big oil could be to blame.
So it's ExxonMobil, it's Chevron, it's Shell, it's BP, it's a lot of them. The gasoline or the oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be.
Today's AAA national average, $3.91 a gallon for regular. That's down a penny from yesterday, but the president says he thinks gas should be going for about $2.25 a gallon. On Wall Street, the Dow futures 90 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 620 points, gain of more than 2%. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, so the Cardinals are going to remain a family business.
Yay!
At its heart.
Okay.
You know, which is a little unusual in pro sports at that major league level. Not unheard of by any means, but they had an announcement yesterday, and when they put out sort of that notice to all the media, it's like Cardinals are going to make an announcement regarding, you know, leadership and ownership of the team. And so we're like, well, this could be nothing. It could be a big deal. There have been, you know, statements by somebody else, a billionaire who wanted to buy the team and all of that sort of thing. So the end result was kind of what was expected in the status quo, but I think that answers some bigger questions about what the next era of the St. Louis Cardinals is going to be. We're now joined by Jacob Cersosimo from our friends at KMOV. Jacob, don't even come close to getting that right. I am so sorry. I read names. I don't say them out loud that often. I hope I did not butcher your last name just now.
No, you're good. It is Cersosimo. You're right.
Yes. Jerome was giving me like, okay, here's how we do this. So make sure you get it right. Okay, so Bill DeWitt III, going to be the new CEO of the Cardinals. I think a lot of people were saying, well, wait a minute, wasn't he already the CEO of the Cardinals? Well, you know, his father, Bill DeWitt Jr., is basically going to remain a part of the leadership team. But essentially what they just announced yesterday was this team is going to stay in the hands of the DeWitt family here in St. Louis. Obviously you know the nooks and crannies of this more than anything else, but how much of this isn't just about what the business cards are going to say, what the titles are going to say, versus what's the message to the St. Louis community and the fan base?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we had the press conference yesterday, someone asked Bill DeWitt Jr., who is still chairman and was CEO since 1996, says, how is your day-to-day going to change? And he essentially said, well, nothing's changing, really. It's just I'm going to be available 24/7 if they need me, and I'll still be here to add my 2 cents, because he's still the chairman and the principal owner. The biggest piece of the pie here for me is Bill DeWitt III is taking over more responsibility. And is this the beginning of kind of a transfer of power? Because, at some point they're going to have to go that direction if it's going to stay in the DeWitt family. But it's really Bill DeWitt III taking over the baseball side of operations and becoming more in charge of the baseball side. Now, you're right. A lot of it is just putting different names on or putting a different title on your business card. And I asked him, what if Cardinals Nation is watching today? This is what I asked Bill DeWitt III yesterday. I said, if they're watching and they're listening and they kind of hear that nothing really is changing from their perspective, am I correct in that assessment? What is changing? And he said, it's more internal, that roles are being clarified for people internally, who they report to, who helps make decisions, where people are going to be. And a big part of this was the promotion of Anouk Karunaratne, who has been with the team since 2024. He was the VP of business. Now he's taking over president of business operations, which is what Bill DeWitt III was. And now Bill DeWitt III is really taking a bigger responsibility when it comes to the baseball side of things. He knows the business side of things. Now he's taking over the business side of things. But don't get it wrong here. Bill DeWitt Jr. is still going to be involved, and he's going to be involved in not only decisions that are happening on the business and baseball side, but really decisions that are made for the Cardinals in total.
Good morning, Jacob. This is Susie Moore. I feel like this is one of those decisions where, from the outside looking in, we're not going to necessarily see or perceive a whole lot of difference in terms of how the team is run and what we're seeing. But I feel like it's one of those that would have landed differently with the fans if the Cardinals were not having a strong season this year. Though thus far, they have been playing, I think, beyond people's expectations. And so it's been, there's a lot more of a warm feeling about how the team is going and how its ownership is looking at things. Do you get the sense that, that plays a role when they're making these decisions, how the overall success of the team is being measured by the fans?
Yes and no. Talking to them yesterday, they're all really pleased with how this team is playing. Bill DeWitt III actually told me, he said he's having more fun watching this team this year than he has watching a Cardinals team in a long time. And I think that's the truth. But when you look at what the message has been from the front office, specifically President of Baseball Operations and Chaim Bloom, and then Bill DeWitt III kind of verified it again yesterday, is this group has a long-term plan. They're excited about how this team is playing this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're excited about what this squad is doing and how they're kind of defying expectations here, and being a really good team. But they have a long-term vision. They realize it's not necessarily World Series or bust this year. They're not going to let what happens this year and the young core playing really well deter them from what their long-term vision is and what their long-term success outlook looks like. And so, yes, there's a lot of optimism right now, and there's this announcement comes at a time when this team is playing really well, but it seems like the front office isn't really getting ahead of themselves when looking at this team. When it comes to the trade deadline, they've talked about it a few times. They're not going to do something now that makes them better this year that might hurt them in the long run and in their long-term vision. So they've seemed pretty even keeled through this whole process of this team playing really well this year, in knowing that they're looking 5 years, a decade down the road, more so than they're looking at September or October this season.
We are visiting with KMOV Sports' Jacob Cersosimo. Okay, so the announcements that came out, and like you said, a lot of it's just internal stuff. That could have been a press release that they emailed to all of us, Jacob. The fact that they decided to go ahead and call the press conference and bring in the cameras and bring in the microphones, that sort of thing. Was there any sort of, I guess, bigger message? Because, David Hoffman has been making noise about wanting to buy the Cardinals. He wanted to buy the Blues a few years ago. Was there somewhat of a statement that says, no, this is the era is going to be building on the last era. This is, there are going to be no changes to who's running the team. Not that I think they were slapping anybody down or anything like that, but was there an element of that to say the tradition is going to continue in the front office in addition to what we're trying to rebuild on the field?
Yeah, I kind of got two things for this, and you're right. This could have been an email to an extent, and I was sitting there yesterday thinking, okay, this definitely could have been an email. But when the Cardinals do something, people have questions, and especially media members have questions, and the fans have questions. And so when the Cardinals do something like this, I believe it's a way of kind of getting ahead of it, because if they make this decision, I'm going to be reaching out. The other TV stations are going to be reaching out. The Post-Dispatch is going to be reaching out. There's going to be other Cardinals media that are reaching out saying, well, if Bill DeWitt III is taking on more of a leadership role, I want to talk to him about what that looks like. And so this has kind of become the status quo with not only the Cardinals, but other organizations throughout professional sports. Even if the decision and the announcement isn't major, they still make them available to media, because there's going to be questions from the fan base. And right now you're looking at somewhat of a fragile Cardinals fan base. Yep. And when it comes to this ownership group and what's kind of been going on in the last few years. And so I think that they do need to make them available to the fans. And I think they've done a good job of making them available to the fans and really to media, so they can explain their stance on a lot of different things. Your question exactly was what?
As far as the, as far as, like, for instance, David Hoffman was trying to make, a lot of noise over the last couple.
Yes. Excuse me, I forgot the second part of your question there. It's a really good question, and I think it's a really valid point, because yesterday Jeff Jones asked Bill DeWitt III, "Is your goal to pass this down to a third generation?" And as they kind of start, they're not transitioning power right now, but there's no question about it. This is a step in that direction. And he said, that's not the primary goal, to pass this on to a third generation. He goes, if it happens like that, that's great, but that is not necessarily the primary goal. So then that kind of begs the question, what the future of the Cardinals look like. Now, Bill DeWitt III, I think, will probably step into a more prominent role over the next, 5 or 10 years, as Bill DeWitt Jr. kind of phases out of being chairman of this organization. But I think that was an answer that I think fans can maybe raise eyebrows at, is Bill DeWitt III saying, it's not our primary goal right now to make sure that, this team is under our leadership for generations and generations to come. Right now, this is the step we're taking. So I thought that was interesting.
Were there any questions that you had that you didn't feel got answered?
My biggest question was, like, what's changing?
Yeah.
And kind of throughout the press conference, I kept wondering, like, Bill DeWitt Jr. said nothing really is changing. And so we got Bill DeWitt III kind of on a side interview afterwards, and that was my biggest question. And he answered it. He said, from a Cardinals Nation point of view, I understand that you may not believe that a lot is changing, but internally this is an important move that we need to make. So I think we live in a day and age where announcements get made and people are wondering, how's this affecting me right now? What's going on right now with this team? And we can be prisoners of the moment at times. But I think this is definitely a long-term vision press conference and decision and organizational leadership announcement. And that is kind of the vibe that I got yesterday, was this is definitely for the longevity of the Cardinals. And Bill DeWitt III was clear. He's like, I still have things to learn on the baseball side of things. Well, it's a good thing he's stepping into this role now as CEO, as his dad's still chairman, to be able to, learn some things from his dad a little bit more. But this is definitely a situation that not only Anook and Bill DeWitt III have transitioned to as far as evolving into this over a period of time, but also Bill DeWitt Jr. helping those guys along the way this wasn't a wake up this week and say, we're going to put new titles on your name. It sounds like this has been in the works for years.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing too. Jake, I've just got a minute or so left. And one of the things that, normally an announcement like this is going to be something that's going to be over on a sports talk station and covered on your news segments or your sports segments there. And it's not going to have the widespread conversation unless you're in a place like St. Louis where the Cardinals aren't just the team. It's truly a fabric of the community here. So people feel more invested in this sort of thing. And that was following up, with Susie's question with the team playing really well. They said last year, or a year and a half ago, message received from the fans. They understand there's a unique relationship with the fans. So it sounds to me from what you're telling me and what you saw and speaking with them, that what they're saying is this is the foundation for the next era to deliver those plans for what's going to be on the field in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And we understand the fan base expects the excellence that we have had traditionally, maybe not the last few years.
Yeah, and a Nook is a huge part of what they're doing to get fans back. Yes, what happens on the field is a majority of the reason to get people to come back to the ballpark. But what they do inside Busch Stadium is also a massive piece of the puzzle. You look at the Coca-Cola Unlimited plan they just put in Big Mac Land and what they do on Friday nights up at Budweiser Terrace and different ticket packages and ways to get people in the ballpark. Anuk Karun-Ratne, he is a critical part of bringing fans back to the ballpark and making sure that the fan experience at Busch Stadium is as good, if not better, than what they're going to see on the field. So, yes, on field is important, but a big part of what these guys do on a day-to-day basis is brainstorm ways to get fans back to the ballpark. And Anuk has been a huge part of that since he got here in 24. And the team's been good this year. But fans are having fun at the ballpark as well when they come to see what else is going on there. So, yeah, there's a lot going on both the baseball and the business side. But they're getting fans back slowly, but I think there's still a lot of work to do.
All right, Jacob Cersosimo from KMOV, thanks so much. We'll be tracking and watching your sports tonight, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jacob. All right, a judge says ICE can't arrest illegals in certain areas. We're going to explain that further at 7:20.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Everybody wants me to dance. Could you imagine FDR dancing?
On News Talk STL. Columbo and Company.
President Trump has put the Save America Act back at the top of his priority list, ruffling some feathers in D.C. We'll discuss it Thursday, plus Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire and Dr. Randy Tobler.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
This is Kurt Barr, Director of Elections for St. Charles County, reminding you that your vote counts. If you have limited mobility, St. Charles County offers accessible curbside voting at the Election Authority office at 397 Turner Boulevard in St. Peters. Park in the designated spot, call the number posted on the sign, and a bipartisan team will come to you. Access to the ballot should never depend on whether you can access a building or stand in line. For official election information, visit sccmo.org/elections.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Trolley Stop Bakery, DG Firearms, and The Yard Guy. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
If that's not a red-blooded American rock song, I don't know what is.
Seems like it is.
I have to thank you for turning me on to Damn Yankees, because this is one of my favorite songs now.
I know.
I like Damn Yankees.
I know. I love that. I saw them. I saw them perform once.
Did you?
In gosh, I don't know. Been early mid '90s, something like that. Of course, this was like a super group.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Jack Blades from Night Ranger.
And Styx?
Tommy Shaw from Styx.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Ted Nugent. And then the other dude.
That guy.
Whatever that guy's name is. Yeah. No, that was a fun show. Yeah, Ted Nugent set stuff on fire on the stage.
That other guy?
Yeah.
The other guy's the best.
Yeah, because he's the drummer. Oh, my goodness. All right, more activism from the judicial bench. Well, a judge says immigration arrest cannot happen in the courthouses. We'll get to that in just a minute. And always, we always have our redstate.com Red State Rundown. But real quick here, USA is playing Turkey today in the World Cup. And so there's a lot of people kind of tuning in, but you do not want to show up at the soccer watch party and not know what you're talking about.
True.
That's why you need to use AI to help you out with this. So, Susie, we... Oh, yeah, let's do that.
This is the Red State Rundown.
Little cross wires there.
You can't give me...
I know, I gave you the cue.
The
and
cues.
Then, yes. We'll do the soccer thing in a minute.
Just to be clear, we're not putting out Red State with AI.
No.
You're getting real organic writing there.
Yes.
I'm going to reset for this. You guys continue what you're doing.
that was like Pavlovian. It was.
was.
We have a cue here to make sure the stuff times out. Right, and
it's
I
true.
just fouled it up by saying,
Have you ever seen Tropic
Damn
Thunder?
Yankees, damn Mike.
That's right.
Have you ever seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
Yes, I have.
And the intro scene where they're
Yes.
cutting in for the explosions, he's giving them the wrong cue. That's what this is
That's
right now.
that one's on me. Just to let everybody know, that one's on me right there. So,
All right, am I doing Red State? Rundown?
let's go ahead and do Red State.
Let's do
Yes,
it.
Let's do Red
Let's
State.
do it. Okay. Well, first up, from Rusty Weiss, we've got, wow, Trump celebrates Senate Iran vote flip after ripping not going to be bullied Bill Cassidy. Yeah, I don't know if you were paying attention yesterday, but there was some spiciness going on in the Capitol.
Apparently a shouting match.
A shouting match where that apparently there was a couple Secret Service agents that even got to their feet.
Oh.
Yes.
Real? I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. Things got very tense between Bill Cassidy and President Trump when he was meeting with the Senate GOP. But Cassidy and Rand Paul, a couple other people later went to the White House. They had a sit down. They kind of had a meeting of the minds, and they flipped their votes. Rand Paul voted present, and Bill Cassidy voted no against the War Powers resolution. They're basically saying, look, we understand. We're going to try and give him the leeway to do the negotiating he's trying to do, which is probably the right move from a party perspective and from a country perspective, I think. So, but anyway, Rusty's got the rundown on that, so definitely check that out. From Terry Christoph, we've got Usha Vance expertly trolls New York Times journo who had epic meltdown over MAGA baby boom. I don't know. People on the left get so undone about like people having traditional family values and having kids and that sort of thing. And apparently someone at the New York Times went off on it. So Usha had a little fun with it. We love Usha. And then from Brandon Morris, this is a VIP article, but I thought that the headline should speak for itself. Socialism is starting to feel a lot like terrorism.
Well, I want to see if he's available. I want to talk to him about that.
Yeah, I can work on that.
Yeah.
Early mornings are a little tough with him because he's got a toddler.
Yeah, he's been on the show, been a while, but I
Yeah.
saw that headline and I'm like, that is that's worth digging into more.
Yeah,
definitely.
I can work on that.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, 7:26 right now. We've got obviously the rest of the world is all about soccer. In a way that the U.S. isn't. Not that there's not a passionate soccer base in America, but Team USA is doing really well in the World Cup right now, and they're going to play Turkey today. And so I want to make sure that if you decide to go to your favorite sports bar's watch party or whatever it is, that you can keep up. So it turns out that there's an AI tool to help this happen.
Okay.
Right. So
okay.
here's how this is going to work. Uh-oh, am I not in? Am I on? Let's try it again here.
With the U.S. team's World Cup success, suddenly you're really into soccer. But like most Americans, you don't know what you're talking about. You should download Soccer GPT.
Welcome to Soccer GPT.
With Soccer GPT, it's 90% confidence, 10% understanding. What's going on now, Soccer GPT?
Their shape is good, but their spacing is inconsistent.
You know, their shape is good, but their spacing is inconsistent. Okay, what else?
Their delivery on set pieces has been excellent. They're just not getting enough bodies in the box.
The set pieces are great, but they got to get more bodies in the box.
Wow, you really know your soccer, Donnie.
And you'll never miss a shot with Soccer GPT's Alexi Lawless feature.
My AYSO coach, when I was 9, knew more than Alexi Lawless.
My AYSO coach knew more than Alexi Lawless.
Boy, Donnie, your Alexi Lawless comments are on point.
Thanks, Soccer GPT.
Soccer GPT, turning casual fans into insufferable experts since yesterday.
We need data centers.
I mean, but it's kind of true.
Oh, it's true. So true. I can't even begin to tell you how true it is. Because there's a never-ending saga with ChatGPT.
Oh, that's right. Matter of fact, there was a story you said we got to ask you about. Is this?
I don't know if we've got time.
We don't
for
have time
now.
for this one. Okay, we need.
I mean, if we're going to talk about important stuff, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but see, the thing is, I played soccer as a kid, and then I moved to a rural area where they didn't even hardly know what soccer. Well, they're like, well, I kind of remember that's what Pele did, right? That was about it back then.
Soccer's big in St. Louis.
Oh, it's huge in St. Louis. It has been for a long time. I mean, you go back to the Steamers, and All right, real quick though, we just got a minute or so left here. A judge says ICE cannot arrest illegal aliens at federal courthouses. What the heck? What is it that's going on here, and how binding is this going to be across the country? And is it just federal courthouses or any courthouse?
Those are immigration courthouses.
Oh,
so those are federal by definition. This was a ruling out of California, but it's a nationwide impact. So it's another one of those nationwide injunction kind of things. So it's going to be appealed. It's going to be shaking out for the next few months, that sort of thing. But basically what this judge did was say, okay, because for years, the federal immigration enforcement agencies did not, as a rule, try to pick up illegal aliens when they were appearing for their immigration court hearings. I guess the idea being we don't want to discourage people from actually showing up and appearing for these hearings. And if there's a question about whether they're here legally or not, they're trying to get it sorted out. We don't want to be standing at the door saying we're going to arrest you now and detain you. So that was their policy. The Trump administration has said, well, no, duh. We've got millions of people in this country that aren't supposed to be here. And if we know they're going to be at the immigration courthouse, why wouldn't we go ahead and pick them up?
We're talking about people who already have deportation orders, right?
For the most part. I mean, there's some murkiness in there. Okay. But so they changed the policy. They changed their implementation. And of course, it was challenged. And this judge said, you didn't properly give good reasons for making this change, so I'm going to say you can't do it. Not you can or can't do it ever. You just didn't back it up with the right reasons.
Is there anything in this ruling that would stop them from saying, "Oh, there's George, the illegal, okay, he's in a red Impala. Wait till he gets to the stoplight at leaving the courthouse and go get him."
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how detailed it got, but I mean, it's going to be appealed anyway, so we'll see how it all shakes out.
Will the next election determine who sets the rules about data centers in Missouri? Or will the current crop of lawmakers do that before next year? We've got that deep dive coming up here at 7:35.
That's the signal. Go, 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 go. Let's go.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
John Beal knows it right after a hailstorm. New roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit Vincent'sJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
With the recent New York City congressional elections, Congress is going to be filled with dirt bags. You heard me, dirt bags. Not my claim, but I agree with it. They were made by Democrat Senator from Pennsylvania, Fetterman. He calls the progressive candidates who won dirt bags. Endorsed by Mayor Mondami, they clearly identify as Democratic Socialist. Fetterman said the people they're running out of office are good traditional kinds of Democrats you would expect in New York City. These are not traditional Democrats. Senator Fetterman said, "This is the dancing days of the dirtbag left. These candidates are outrageous, wanting to abolish ICE, police, the border." Recently, Fetterman accused these candidates of being the pro-Hamas wing of Democrats. Democrat Senator Cory Booker was asked, "What do you think of Senator Fetterman calling fellow Democrats dirtbags?" He just laughed and said, "If you want to heal the country, you can't be picking fights," adding, "The Democrat Party is a big tent party." So that suggests Booker is willing to accept dirtbags, Hamas sympathizers, anyone who can take over Congress and the White House and win it back from Trump.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Michael McGreevy. Escape to Margaritaville night at Busch Stadium on Friday, June 26th. Celebrate the legacy of Jimmy Buffett with a special pregame performance by the Boat Drunks. With a special theme ticket, you'll receive a Margaritaville-inspired Cardinals cap. Plus, a portion of each ticket benefits Singing for Change. Kick back, relax, and enjoy a night where it's 5 o'clock somewhere, even at 7:15 first pitch. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, when pests invade your home, you need someone you can trust. It's Jamie Allman here, and at Buckingham Pest Control, they're not just your exterminators. They're your neighbors and friends. A locally owned family business and St. Louis Magazine A-List award winner, providing affordable, quality pest control. Plus, they offer energy-efficient TAP attic insulation, the only insulation that controls pests. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on
on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
This is Kirk Hilsinger, chairman of the St. Louis City Republican Party. Connect with us at stl-gop.com. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, so we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Some state lawmakers in Missouri looking at what role that they have, or maybe what role they should have when it comes to data centers and the development and the regulation and the utility usage and the land usage and all of those things. So the ball is rolling on debating that question. And I don't know, maybe finding an answer, but we do have the answer to one question, which is, when will that discussion happen? And it's not going to happen right away. We're now joined by State Representative Tricia Byrnes. And Tricia, we were talking yesterday about you were among those who signed on to a letter asking for a special session to deal with data centers and the development in particular. The governor responded by essentially saying, we're looking forward to talking about this in the next regular session. So the questions then come down to, first and foremost, what should the state government's role be when it comes to the development and regulation of these things versus local autonomy on making those decisions? And why did you feel that there was an impetus to say we've got to do this now as opposed to waiting until January?
Because right now, this to me seems very planned, right? We were in session. We'd hear a little bit about data centers. But at that point, I think most of Missouri's understanding of a data center was something that we pictured maybe like MasterCard, right, which went through planning and zoning in O'Fallon and had a ton of specifications and design details and had to go through planning and zoning and, a county council. And then, like, for myself, I picture a data center back in the late 90s, the bottom of our corporation. You'd walk by, see it. That's where the tech guys would go in and out, something went wrong. So I think people would picture, like, we've had these for a long time. And then when we'd hear stuff about noise or water usage, there was a lot of people that have saw documentaries in the past about Bitcoin farms. And they're like, no, I'm being told those are two different things, right? So that was some of this learning that was coming on. And then all of a sudden session ends and we learn that these are hyperscale data centers, something that we'd never seen before. Really the largest and complex development proposals in American history. And what's interesting is they're going to farmland, right? So you have these 900-acre facilities and they're taking farmland out. But when they're doing that, it's mostly targeting areas that don't have planning and zoning. So the other thing that they're doing is they have these NDAs, utility commitments. It's significant land use changes because you're going from ag to industrial, right? And so somebody next door to that is an abrupt change without a lot of oversight. So that's what I think is really troubling about this, is how different it is from our expectations. And then it's being rushed through what seems like as fast as possible to get these sites, agreements on these sites. So, for instance, we had a ribbon cutting of Google, and now we just had essentially the official announcement of Amazon. There's 3 more under contract that I know of in that stretch of Highway 70. Now, I don't know if it's going to pan out, but I understand 3 more farms are under contract with data centers. That's what is alarming, is how many are going into such a small area, essentially, when you look at across Missouri. Now, I know they're going on all across Missouri. These are just the ones I know of down 70.
Good morning, Tricia. This is Susie Moore. Since there isn't going to be a special session, obviously, things are moving fast. But given that there isn't going to be one at this point, is there something that the legislature that you and other legislators can do in this sort of off season, if you will, to prepare to be able to tackle this during the next regular session?
The only lever that I was able to pull, and it still required leadership, right? I am the chair of Intergovernmental Affairs, and I asked for Speaker John Patterson to allow me to convene a meeting at veto session. The reason why that was an ask that's much sooner, of course, than in January, but that's an ask where we can have something public now where people can see this. And one of my hopes is counties and local government have to step up to protect and communicate with their communities. I think this gets a lot of conversation going, right, and empowers those counties that they can take action instead of just being in the dark. It's also brought people from across the state calling for action. So I think that's very helpful. So let me tell you when that is. Veto session is September 16th, 2026. It will convene after veto session, and all of the state representatives will already be there, so there's no additional cost to Missourians.
We're visiting with State Representative Tricia Byrnes. Okay, so the governor says no special session. We're going to go to the regular session. In all candor, this seems like there's a logic to that, to maybe 5 months and then maybe some research on that versus a special session. It seems like there would be a risk of things going in too fast without fully vetting it. So I get where he's coming from on that. But what is it that you'd want to see the state legislature come up with? I mean, what are the questions that need to be answered as far as what the state government's role is and what Missouri should allow and not allow? Because there are people who say yes to data centers, others who say absolutely no to data centers, but the devil's in the details, and they're coming somewhere, somehow, someday. So how does the state carve out its proper lane in this from, either from a regulatory perspective or consumer perspective or whatever the state decides it's going to be?
Okay, so that was a lot of questions.
A lot of questions, yes, that's fair.
And and then the number one piece of this is we do have to, in my mind, we're going to have to find some balance between protecting the landowner's rights to sell. That I understand. So I feel like there's a difference between intervening with a landowner's right to sell, right, and then saying, okay, but if you're the corporation coming in, there's some check marks that you have to make, right? We need to make sure there's really good hydrogeologists doing the study of the water, and there's the electric contracts that are going on. And then I'll talk just kind of briefly. So there's kind of regulation and these check boxes that need to be made. But when you get into what would you change right away, one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing is these NDAs. Now, I do believe that, because I also served on Wentzville alderman, right? Mm-hmm. So I've seen these things before. So when they come in, a lot of times they won't use the brand's name because that could have a positive or negative impact on the brand. And sometimes that needs to become irrelevant so you can see the details. So I understand blocking perhaps the name Google on a proposal, right? But the rest of it, people need to see. And most importantly, what I'm hearing is that elected officials are in closed sessions and they're given NDAs. So they're not sure who they can go out and reach out to. So if they can't ask questions, I think that's troubling. So we need to look at these NDAs and make sure local officials and counties feel like they're not bound to secrecy where they can't get the answers they need. I think that's a really big piece of that. Then the other piece of this, and the only way I probably that Missouri can even intervene, is if taxpayer dollars are at stake. And that's where you say if taxpayer dollars are at stake, then the taxpayer has a seat at the table. And when you run a project through somewhere, let's say Wentzville, for instance, we had planning and zoning, and then we had the Board of Aldermen. And then there was a series of several public meetings. When something came up on the agenda, it had to sit on the agenda for at least a day before you could have a public meeting. And then it was open to the public. All of our meetings are recorded for people to go back and see. And then you have the planning and zoning, you have the Board of Aldermen. That is not what I'm hearing from these other groups where they're going out to the farmlands where they don't have these kind of structures already in place. So when tax dollars are at stake, I believe there has to be some public notice and awareness of what's going on in their community, because this is going to fundamentally change the neighbors to these properties. Not only is it how they live, but it's also how they work, because they work the land that is sitting next door to these big data centers that are going in ag, what's zoned as ag land.
All right, State Representative Tricia Byrnes, appreciate the update on that. I think I have a feeling this is going to be like one of the dominant things that's going to happen in January as well. Of course, in the meantime, we've got all of the statewide ballot issues coming up in August and in November as well. So, so there's going to be no shortage, not much downtime over the next 8, 9, 10 months
Right.
on this sort of thing.
Sure, and it's difficult too, because we really have to balance the rights, property rights. We have to balance economic development, workers. There's a lot going on here on these things. Like I said, unprecedented economic development.
All right, Tricia, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, should it have been a controversy at all? We'll fill you in on what happened after that verbal brawl between Sam Page and the county council this week.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
We Democrats know so much, that is true. And we have to kind of tell everybody how smart we are.
On News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
Why did the Today Show's Brian Gumbel get yanked off a St. Louis golf course this week in 1985? Then it's back to Collinsville and the ketchup bottle in 2000 when native Michael Stipe of REM got a little mixed up. Also, we fly over Busch Stadium with a banner that says, JC says the Mets are pound scum this week in 1987. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, Missouri's lawmakers, as we just spoke with State Representative Tricia Byrnes, going to be debating data centers and the next wave of big tech, but they're not going to be doing this right away. Basic details just ahead here. And also, is the Great American State Fair basically a MAGA rally now at this point? Should it be? I would hope everybody would agree no, but is that what it's defaulting to? Possibly.
Seems that way.
Yeah, and the Cardinals hope to split their series with the Diamondbacks. They can't actually win it outright, but they can get the tie in that. We'll give the details on that. 7:51. Let's go ahead and do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Mario's Donut Restaurant.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
Mario's Donuts. Sorry. Bueno, Homer Simpson there for a second. All right. It looks like there will not be a special session to address big tech in Missouri. Governor Mike Kehoe says the legislature should take up that debate over data centers in 2027. Responding to a request for a special session, the governor's office says he's looking forward to addressing debates over things like regulation and development in that regular session, which begins in January. We just spoke with State Representative Tricia Byrnes, who was among those asking for the special session. That conversation is going to be posted on our podcast a little bit later this morning. St. Louis County Council approves funding for nurses and some limited primary health care services in the jail and in the juvenile detention center. That's after that verbal brawl basically broke out earlier this week in the county council chambers. Corey Stark from KMOV has the basic details.
This has been an explosive standoff between the county executive and council members. Now that the funding has been secured, nurses will be retained, continuing primary care in the jail and preventing patients from being sent to area hospitals.
The $3 million funding plan was delayed earlier this week when council members had questions about details of the spending. The council chambers were actually cleared out on Tuesday when conflicts between activists and the council and conflicts between Executive Sam Page and some council members became heated, shall we say. Became heated. 8:20, I've got some of those sound clips from what actually happened. It was complete unnecessary nonsense, and I understand that I'm not completely objective because of what I think of Sam Page as a politician, a leader, and a human being, but it was his fault.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line, is none of this had to happen. It happened because Sam Page got dumb again. I mean, it's just the bottom line.
He's really good at that.
He really is.
Yeah. I mean, I think he kind of holds steady. I don't even think he gets there. I think he just is there.
He doesn't get there. He's already arrived.
Right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is, we talk about like senioritis in so many things. You're on the way out. You're like, I don't care anymore. So this is a guy who I don't know if he's trying to secure a legacy or if he knows he's not going to have a legacy because everybody hates him. One of the few truly bipartisan things here in the St. Louis region. And so just basically throw mud on everybody on your way out the door, essentially. He's the tantrum throwing kid who's being drug out of the candy store.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. The Small Business Administration recently launching what they're calling the SBA Small Business Pledge, inviting businesses to join in commemorating the 250th anniversary of the country. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler explaining on Fox Business's Mornings with Maria that the idea is to promote free enterprise and entrepreneurship.
Free enterprise is what built this nation 250 years ago. It's what's going to build it for the next 250 years. We want to celebrate free enterprise and those builders, the doers, the makers, and invite them to sign the pledge to commit to building in America, hiring in America, and innovating in America.
Okay, not fully free market by definition, but I get the feeling as to what they're trying to do. Among other things, businesses that sign the pledge will get a recognition as part of the U.S. 250th anniversary and a special Freedom 250 certificate.
Yay.
There you go.
You can frame it and hang it over the door.
And you probably should.
Yeah.
You definitely probably should. All right, let's talk here. Speaking of America 250 here, President Trump headlining the Freedom 250 Great American State Fair after, obviously, a bunch of the musicians dropped out of this. He tells supporters that he has restored faith in the country and returned America to be number one on the world stage.
We have reclaimed our sovereignty, regained our liberty, restored our prosperity, and we have saved our country. In all things, we're once again putting a thing called America first.
All right, the fair is going to go on for 16 days in all. Each day is going to honor part of the president's platform, like Maha Mondays.
I like that.
Maha Mondays.
I am
There you
on
go.
board.
President Trump plans to hold a rally ahead of the Independence Day fireworks show as well. Okay, this is an interesting one. DoorDash is making a change when it comes to their charitable donations programs. Michael Harrington has the story.
The country's largest food delivery service says it will no longer use the Southern Poverty Law Center's criteria to decide where company charitable dollars will be spent. Alliance Defending Freedom, a Christian legal group, negotiated the decision by DoorDash. The SPLC routinely lists Christian ministries and charitable organizations as hate groups if they refuse to embrace the LGBT agenda. Many big corporations blindly use the SPLC to make decisions about giving. Michael Harrington reporting.
And I think that story is not as much about DoorDash or about the SPLC as it is about there's a lot of people in this country going, you know what, enough was enough. Maybe we did get dumb over this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are waking up to that, and that's a good thing.
Yep. All right, the Cardinals announced that Bill DeWitt III has been promoted to CEO, succeeding his father, Bill DeWitt Jr., who remains chairman and principal owner of the team. What I took from that is that the Cardinals are making it clear this is going to remain a family-run business in St. Louis. This is the next era on that. So we had a conversation with our friends over at KMOV earlier on that. You can find that on the podcast a little bit later on as well. Cardinals lose to the Diamondbacks Wednesday night. Final score at Busch Stadium was 9-4. That means the series is now 2-1 in favor of the Diamondbacks. Cardinals hope to at least even up the series and get the split tonight at 6:45. Michael McGreevy going to get the start for this one. Cardinals still comfortably in second place in the National League Central, in a good spot to get into the wild card spot in the playoffs if they were started today.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years. And now Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Simply Health with Dr. Brian Deloney.
Fix the frame, fire up the furnace. This week, I'll be connecting joint repair, fat-burning exercises, and supplements like creatine, magnesium, psyllium, B vitamins, and TMG. You're going to learn how better tissue health may help you move better, heal better, and support a stronger metabolism.
Simply Health with Dr. Brian Deloney. Saturdays at noon on News Talk STL. To find out more about Simply Health Integrated Medical, log on to simplyhealthintegrated.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these 2 young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL
at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. An inflation barometer that's closely monitored by the Fed has jumped through a 3-year high, now topping 4%, and falling oil prices are expected to turn things around soon. Venezuela is reeling from a 1-2 punch delivered by 2 strong earthquakes, killed at least 164 people, injured almost 1,000.
Back-to-back powerful earthquakes have hammered Venezuela, collapsing buildings in the capital of Caracas. The U.S. Geological Survey says the first earthquake had a magnitude of 7.1 along the country's Caribbean coast. Minutes later, an even larger 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck. The U.S. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has issued tsunami alerts for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Placing her country under a state of emergency, Venezuelan President Delcy Rodriguez thanking a host of nations offering help in search, recovery, and rebuilding.
Estados Unidos, Panamá, Qatar, Cuba, Nicaragua, Turquía, Jordania, Barbados, Curazao, Colombia, Reino Unido, Brasil, México.
No reports of serious injuries or damage from earthquakes that rattled Northern California and Japan. President Trump presiding over opening ceremonies on the National Mall last night for a weeks-long celebration of America's 250th anniversary.
Tonight, as we stand on the edge of our 250th year of independence, I am thrilled to declare that America is back.
The Commerce Department reports the U.S. economy expanded at a solid 2.1% annual pace, January through March. And on Wall Street, Dow futures up 119 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 680. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-926-5959. That's 800-926-5959. 800-926-5959.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight, areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
The Media Research Center, our great friends, are out to prove that The View is a political operation and they should be giving equal time to political candidates. We'll talk about that. Kenny Dow come out right out of the gate Wednesday at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Big guy, one of the biggest in the world.
Susie Moore.
Do you think he's ready?
He's not ready. Get up, St. Louis.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, we are going to party on Friday, people. Just saying, this is going to be a blast. We're going to be out of Frankie Martin's garden, and we are, we're going to do it rain or shine. Okay, this is bottom line is what we're going to be doing here. So more details on that here in just a moment. If you've not been out to Frankie Martin's garden, man, this is a cool place in Cottleville. I got to tell you, every time I drive through Cottleville, because I've got one of my friends owns the really nice restaurant and sort of event space across the street from Frankie Martin's. So I always drive by the Frankie Martin's garden and I'm like, man, I cannot wait till we get to do something there. So we are celebrating our 5th anniversary, our 5th birthday, if you will, here at the radio show. So we are Soros the I'm just gonna be honest. Soros the Gremlin is in the way right now. We're connecting with Michelle Hanson from the Frankie Martin's Garden management group out there, but our calls are being blocked somehow through the technical stuff. I just got that email from her there, Jerome. So we are trying to do that here, but I'm looking. FrankieMartinsGarden.com is the website. And we're going to be out there. Now, our part of the event is 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to try to get out there just a little bit early. And, Michelle, if you are listening, we are trying once again to get in touch with you right there. But looks like we've got a gremlin in the system right here for something as basic as a phone call. But somehow George Soros and Soros the Gremlin does not want us talking to Michelle. But we're going to find a way. But you know why? Because we're too big to fail. Actually, we're not too big to fail. We're the local government here. It's funny, I was meeting with our boss yesterday, and let me tell you why this is so special to me personally, is that when we first started this radio station, and we started planning for this about 6 years ago, a little over 6 years ago, we're celebrating our 5th year on the air, but there was basically almost a year's worth of pre-work that went into this, and I remember when I got the call from our boss, Jeff, saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Now, most of us were over at the other station. You know, I think you all know that you heard most of us on the other station in town. And as far as the conservative station, I did some work filling in on KMOX and places like that. And he said, we've got an idea for a local station. And the conventional wisdom then and now is that we don't do that anymore. That local media is just going by the wayside. And we've proven that that's not the case. When we first started this and word got out that we were doing this, we heard over and over and over again that you all are nuts. The day has passed for local media that just works with local communities. And we thought, you know what, there's a lane here. People thought we were crazy. Now, we might still be.
I was going to say, I don't think that's been disproved.
Two things can be true at the same time. But what's happened is St. Louis has said, yeah, no, we don't need another corporately distantly owned media outlet. We do want somebody who's going to be here. And that's what we're showing on Friday, tomorrow night. And I'm going to be there. And I know that there's some rain in the forecast. We've got the main pavilion. We're going to be underneath it. We'll keep you warm and dry. There's going to be lots of food trucks if you want to go get some food. I am. And some drinks out there as well.
Yeah, I think that there is a desire from this station specifically, I think, shows that there is a real, true desire to have people that are from the area, that live in the community, that care about the same issues, be the ones that they can relate with and tune into and trust to actually factually get it right when they need the news and when they just want to have a good conversation with people. And you don't get those from these corporate stations. Now, I've not been to Martin's Garden yet, but I do know that the Retro Nerds are going to be there with us.
Oh, yeah.
And I have seen them live, and they are actually... It's very unique, I will say, what they do, but it's a fantastic performance, and it's just amazing that there are people out there that are willing. I mean, it is a little goofy. It's 80s themed. You know, it's 80s.
Oh, it's so much fun, though.
It is, but it's in the modern day, it's incredible that there are people that are willing to at least have that kind of fun and allow people to have that experience, like me, who missed out on the 80s entirely. So I do think that there is something to be said here that we may still be a little crazy, but we proved all the naysayers wrong, and we're doing it great.
Yeah, so what I love about this, because I remember our first birthday party, and we were a little nervous, Jerome. You weren't in town yet, I don't think, but we go over to what used to be Diamond Music Hall in St. Peter's, and we get the Retro Nerds, and we're like, we're just gonna have a party. Who's gonna show up is gonna show up, and we're like, yeah, is anybody gonna show up? This is the first birthday. We packed the place.
If you build it, they will come.
It was so much. But the great part was we didn't get there and rant about politics or this candidate or that candidate. Now, I would not be surprised if some of your favorite candidates are gonna be there because we work with a lot of them. And hopefully they're saying, hey, come on out and celebrate, this sort of milestone for us, especially as part of the America 250, the America 250th year that we're doing this. It's extra special to us. But it shows not even so much just what we've done here as it has been. We've met a need and a demand in St. Louis that says we want somebody who is invested fully in St. Louis. And, we're doing we're doing what we set out to do. And, I'll tell you, for instance, one of the things I'm excited about, don't go into details and stuff, but y'all are going to be stuck with me for a little bit longer because actually yesterday I did sign a new contract to stay on here. And I plan to be here for a very, very, very long time. But so I'm going to be around for a little while. I have signed a new contract to stay on as the morning show host here at News Talk STL. Yeah, so that's really exciting for me. But yeah, we look at something like Frankie Martin's Gardens in Cottleville. You said you haven't been there yet, right? Have you driven by there yet?
I've been to Cottleville, but I don't know the specific venue from the top of my head.
So cool. It's the one right off that main drag with the great big stage and big screen, and like they'll play ball games and stuff, and they have a lot of live music, and it's kind of a big outdoorsy area with some pavilions out there, and it's just so cool out there. And so this will be my first time actually out there, because usually when I'm in Cottleville, I'm over doing something over at Piazza Messina, which is kind of across the street and near the other amphitheater out there. Because a friend of mine owns Piazza Messina, and we do a lot of our baseball stuff there, to be real honest. And so this party is going to happen rain or shine tomorrow. My hope is that if it's going to rain, okay, whatever. Like I said, we've got the big pavilion. We're going to have fun anyway. Just throw on an old T-shirt and some shorts or whatever. If we get a little rained on, we get rained on. We don't care. We're going to have fun. But then again, we may end up with perfect weather, because a couple weeks ago, everybody thought we were going to get drenched at the Sammy Hagar concert, and it turned out to be the perfect night. A lot of the weather forecast looks like it's kind of moving to the south of us a little bit, but I think either way, it's just going to be a great time. And the Retro Nerds are so much fun. I mean, they're just a blast. It's a great show that they put on. All the 80s videos, they're playing along to it, and it's just a great time with those guys.
Well, and I think that's the benefit of not having crazy hair dyes, is that, like these liberals do, is that if it rains, so what? I mean, we've all taken showers, I hope. Hopefully, right, Mike?
What day of the week is this?
Oh, yeah, it's not Bath Day. I apologize. Now, PMS does leave us a very good comment, though. He says that 94.1/1019, hey, that's us.
That's us.
Rules the airwaves. Strong work by everyone involved. Very impressive and necessary to have the avenue to get the facts out there. And we appreciate that, PMS.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going. We were supposed to be talking with the Michelle Hanson from Frankie Martin's Garden, and obviously somewhere along the line there's a glitch that's preventing that. So we're gonna talk to her hopefully tomorrow.
I think Susie's AI has gone rogue and sabotaging us, because we were making fun of that earlier.
Oh my goodness! All right, so details are at newstalkstl.com. But here's the thing: this is not one of those things where send in your reservation, fill it. It's not doing that. Just come on out tomorrow. Just kind of show up. I got to tell you, I love a good bank of food trucks, which is out there. So you can do that, and there'll be some drinks and all sorts of stuff. So join us out there, completely free. Just come on out. It's going to be a great time.
Upon reflection and encouragement, I've decided to drop my cover fee that I was going to charge everyone. So yes, it will be free. I will not be hunting people down.
Jerome was going to be the bouncer.
You ruined my scheme. I was going to sit there and just start charging people, and hand out some stickers or something. But no, you had to ruin that for me.
Yep. So if you're going to be out there, come on out. Do me a favor. Take that link on the website and just put it on your social media saying, guys, I'm going to come to this party. It's going to be a blast. Come on out. Invite one and all. This is going to be one of those things where we just don't care if you're conservative or leftist or non-political. We're just going to have a good time, because in addition to this being conservative media here in St. Louis, this is more local voices in St. Louis, and that's what we need more of. So we thank you for making this happen, and we're so glad we can basically elevate your voices throughout the region and around the country.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
They were drinking water out of the toilet.
On News Talk STL. News Talk STL is turning 5, and you're invited to the party. Join us Friday night, June 26th at Frankie Martin's Garden in Cottleville for a totally rad celebration with the Retro Nerds, St. Louis's favorite 80s tribute band. Live on their outside stage from 7 to 10. It's an all-ages show, so bring the whole family and stop by and see us at the NewsTalkSTL Pavilion right near the stage. Frankie Martin's Garden, the place for and about community in Cottleville. Details at frankiemartinsgarden.com.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering from Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
America's 250th birthday is almost here, and there's only one place to make it unforgettable. Brilliant Skies Fireworks, where the deals are big and the booms are bigger. Come see Todd and Ed, veteran fireworks show designers and shooters who know how to light up a sky. They'll point you to exactly what you need for the most bang for your buck, with friendly service and some of the lowest prices around. 949 Montebello Road in Imperial. Mention News Talk STL and get a free gift while supplies last.
Hey, Columbo here, ready to take your next shot? Then head to Bluff City Outdoors, your destination for the best archery gear, from traditional equipment to compound bows to high-performance crossbows, all from the biggest names in archery like Hoyt, Matthews, 10 Point, and more. Whether you hunt, shoot target, compete in 3D, or just shoot for fun, make your next shot at Bluff City Outdoors. 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Don't forget Bluff City has all your fishing and trapping needs covered as well. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right, was the Great American State Fair always going to be a MAGA thing, or did it become a MAGA thing when others backed out?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, so I honestly forgot that yesterday was the kickoff for the Great American State Fair thing. And this is another one of those where there are like two different things. There's the official America 250 celebration, which is a commission that's been set up for years to prepare. And then there's the one that President Trump set up in the sort of the private sector for the Great American State Fair and things like that. That's where all of the controversy and the debacle and the miscommunication and all this sort of thing. So would he have had a big MAGA rally if all the musicians who either had been booked or said they were going to perform didn't back out? Probably not. He may have had one at the end, but then you got that chicken and egg question, and Susie referenced that a little bit ago. And the criticism was, why are you making this thing a big MAGA thing, a big Trump thing? Well, it wasn't designed to be that at the beginning, or at least it wasn't presented that way at the beginning. And then everybody backed out. I think one or two performers said that they were going to stay. And then they got, I guess, a country music singer I've never heard of because I don't really follow country music, but it's Kash Patel's girlfriend, who I guess is a performer. I mean, and I don't know if she's a star. I don't know what I just don't know her music. But she performed,
Catch her outside. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. And so and again, I say that just because that's the point of reference. She may be a big star in country music. I have no idea. I've never heard of her. But then again, I don't listen to a lot of country music. So that's the criticism is, well, see, this is just a big MAGA thing. Trump did his MAGA rally. Well, yeah, but everybody else backed out. So, I mean, did it become that by default, or did they back out knowing that this was what it was going to be? There's probably a little bit of both in there. But when all the musicians were basically going, okay, we're out, we can't do this. Now, first of all, I don't think any of the musicians who were booked were actually current stars in anything. They were all retro acts. And I don't have an issue with that, whatsoever. I thought the lineup, there were a few on there that I thought, well, that's odd that they were booking those, because I think there was a lot of artists that would have been good, and several of them that they picked, I thought were good choices. And so the whole thing falls apart, and now it becomes a MAGA rally, and then the accusations are Donald Trump is ruining the America 250 rally or 250 celebration because he's making it all about himself. I don't think that's totally fair. Now, yesterday it looks like he kind of made it about himself, and some of his administration were doing that as well. But they're filling a void that was left off because the singers and the performers backed out. And so there's a little bit of blame probably to go around all over the place. My hope is that it doesn't ruin any sort of vibe for so many people to celebrate America 250. And I'm particularly talking to you on the left right now. It's okay to celebrate America. It just is.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to make any accusations. I don't want to, put any conspiracies out there as much as I'd like to. But as somebody that was a touring musician around, the Midwest for a little bit, there have been times where people that were trying to draw attention to something to try to get people into a festival or for like a local concert or venue hall, something like that, that they would list acts as if they were already booked to draw the attention, to get people hyped about it.
And then pressure them into showing up.
Yeah, and then knowing behind the scenes that they had not actually gotten that confirmation yet, and then you'd have the band saying, well, no, we're like, one of the times there was a band that was on tour in Europe that was booked in the United States while they're still in Europe, and they're like, there's no possible way for us to even get to America in time for this. So I don't want to say that maybe that was part of it, is that they just got really excited, and they said, oh, wouldn't this be great if we had these people playing? Let's just announce it. I'm sure, when the acts see how hyped everybody is to see them play, then they'll say yes, and then it backfired. Or if even in general, it was never meant to actually have them follow through on that. But like you mentioned, if everybody in the room that is not a clown, if everybody else in the circus leaves that circus and only the clowns are left, it becomes a clown show.
Right.
So there's really not I don't think it's fair necessarily to blame him for that. But I also think that the direction of now just owning it and saying, fine, it's going to be a MAGA rally to celebrate me and my administration. I think that might actually lose some people that were going to show up anyways.
Yeah, just call it whatever it is right now at this point. Just go ahead and do that. It sounds like the planning of this was not done very well at all, because the idea of the Great American State Fair, I think is a great idea. I actually love the idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody's represented. Here are all different kinds of music and displays and I think the idea is fantastic. And the idea that so many blue states like Illinois said, we refuse to participate in Donald Trump's party. Okay, well, that's just stupid. He just happens to be president during the America 250. Are you just incapable of saying that we can do something that's bigger than any one political office or any one politician? And they just, the idea that we refuse to do it because Orange Man bad, that is part of the massive division that's happening. Okay.
I drew a little flack for saying this last time as well, but I'm going to reiterate, though. I do think that even if President Trump was participating and helping do everything, was directly involved with it behind the scenes, I think that if he had maybe been more of a background character, I suppose like what we would call a ghostwriter in the music industry. But if he had not been so forward and front and center with it and taken all the 250 branding and all that stuff with him, then this might have turned out to be the way that I think a lot of us were hoping, which would be, let's just come together, celebrate our nation. You have some musical acts of different generations that are mostly at least culturally relevant still, or at least during a period of American history were very relevant. And I can't help but wonder if he had maybe taken more of a background role and said, we're going to leave this up to this department to take care of, or this spokesperson, that maybe things would have transpired a little differently.
Or just have the actual official bipartisan commission do that. Allison writes on Rumble, shame on the Democrats for making this about Trump instead of the 250th birthday. Yeah, there's some truth. A lot of truth to that right there, yeah.
Well, I'm also not sure Democrats really care about America's 250th. I mean, if you see the way that who they're supporting and a lot of the rhetoric that comes out of their mouths, it really doesn't seem like, even if Trump wasn't involved, it's still America bad. What are we celebrating?
So when you look at like the music that was booked, I mean, there were a lot of conservatives like Martina McBride. She's just a left-wing whatever. No, but she's a pretty iconic country music singer. You definitely want country music represented there,
A
because
little bit of Dolly Parton if possible.
Dolly Parton would have been perfect for that. But you also look at, you could pick, even though I'm not a country music guy, I could pick out probably 10 artists that I thought that would be a really good representative. Obviously, you want rock and roll.
Some Limp Bizkit.
You would pick Limp Bizkit. I don't know that I would pick Limp Bizkit.
I will maintain that Limp Bizkit is just as culturally relevant to America as maybe Willie Nelson or Dolly Parton would be for their generation.
Okay, you're gonna have a hard sell for a lot of people on that one.
Kid Rock is in a similar vein. Well, some of his earlier stuff was.
Kid Rock. Kid Rock. He was unique when he first came out because he did the rap rock thing, and that was which Limp Bizkit did, and some of the others did. Of course, Kid Rock's really attached to Donald Trump more than anything.
But he probably would have played Ba with the Boff. He was,
of course, without a doubt. But you look at, like, for instance, some of the classic, the retro. I would look for somebody now, because you don't want somebody who's gonna like not appeal to a lot of people. But you go back to, like, Bret Michaels and Poison. You could go back to a lot of those. I thought that, Sammy Hagar would have been a good choice. Any of those sort of, like, they don't get super political in their stuff. I mean, you don't want Rage Against the Machine or somebody like that on there.
No.
But honestly, like, if Bruce Springsteen could keep his yap shut and stop with the stupid anti-American stuff, hateful stuff that he spews, Bruce Springsteen would have been a perfect choice. But he's decided to make everything about how much he hates the administration and hates the conservative movement. And so, of course, you're not going to put him on there. But if he just did his Americana-branded music, that would have been a good choice. Billy Joel would have been a really good choice. You definitely want, classic R&B and blues, and there's a lot of great, acts out there on that. I mean, I love the fact that what was left of the Commodores, would have been there. I thought that was a fantastic choice, and then they backed out.
Real Milli Vanilli.
Well, and that's when I'm like, what the heck are you thinking, booking that, man? That didn't make any sense.
And I'm sure a lot of these musical acts don't care, but this could have actually been probably a really good opportunity for people that have made anti-Trump statements, anti-MAGA statements in the past to show up and still reclaim some of that lost base by showing, look, like, I'm still pro-America, and I'm still willing to give you guys a good time. And some people are incapable of that.
This should have been something that was a really big honor to be asked, as opposed to, I'm just getting booked at another gig, an outdoor gig or whatever the case is. I mean, you think about even like the artists who have overtly come out and said, I'm either MAGA or I'm conservative or I'm Republican, or those where you go, I'm pretty sure that you might be right. There's a lot of them out there. And it didn't used to carry this kind of cost. I mean, it was 2 or 3 presidential election years ago. Jack Blades from Night Ranger performed at the Republican National Convention. That wasn't a big deal. There were a few people that got mad at him, but overall it just kind of came and went, and nobody really cared. He performed one of his solo songs there, and he was just a performer at a convention. I mean, every conference and convention hires entertainers, at some point, and he didn't really catch too much flack for that. But at this day and age, you could almost get canceled for being in the neighborhood of something that happened that might have the GOP on it. And it's just plain stupid. Just like, listen, Bruce Springsteen, I mentioned, Martina McBride, and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and all of these bands. I don't care that they say what they want to say. Mm-hmm. They've got a right to do that. That's the glory of the First Amendment, is that you have a right to say whatever stupid stuff you want to say, and I have a right to point out that I think it's stupid and pick it apart. That's the whole exchange of ideas. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Even some of the bands I really like, Foo Fighters and some of the others, they just decided that they want to get involved in politics instead of appealing to everybody. And now none of us can have nice things because everybody, wants to just focus on Orange Man Bad instead of let's celebrate America.
Yeah, this really could have gone in the direction of like what Band-Aid was.
Yeah.
Or like a Woodstock, but for America. This could have been something so fantastic like that. And fortunately, egos clash.
Yep.
Now, we do have, speaking of clashing egos, we have more information about that verbal slap fight at the St. Louis County Council meeting last week. So at 8:35, find out why it was all Sam Page's fault, or at least we're going to blame him for it.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I'm a very stable genius.
On News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A front moves in from the northwest today and installs right on top of us for the next couple of days, and that leads to rounds of rain and storms. That said, we'll be mainly dry through this morning, but scattered storms develop this afternoon, a muggy high of 86. Heavy rain likely at times overnight. Areas of flooding possible, down to 68 for the low. On and off rain and storms on Friday, too, as the flooding threat continues. 82 for the high tomorrow. One more round of scattered storms on Saturday, too. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary with Craig Gutfeld. Next.
So Ryan and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. He provided for our family in life and also after his death. I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Apply in minutes and get same-day coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's Greg Gutfeld.
Suddenly, pool algae is bigger than Somali daycare fraud, Laken Riley COVID cash grabs, in 4 years of Biden playing hide and seek with his brain. Fact is, Trump has D.C. looking its cleanest in decades, including the reflecting pool. They tear down monuments, Trump tries to fix them. And yet the response isn't celebration, it's vandalism, more vandalism of beauty. Fountains defaced, pools destroyed, all out of spite for Trump. Just weeks ago, a huge 8647 appeared on the National Mall lawn, a threat to the president's life etched in grass. And here we thought they were so green. In a way, though, they are, since algae is the perfect analogy for leftism. It never creates anything good. Instead, they grow on top of what's already beautiful, applying a layer of slime to things they cannot create themselves.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri. A full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, the St. Louis County Council, they finish that process and do the funding for the nurses in the jails, you know, that whole debacle. And so I watched the video of the parts of the meeting that got really contentious that we were talking about yesterday. And so I've got a couple of the audio clips from that. And so I'm trying to assess this. And even though we all know I can't stand Sam Page, just as a leader, as a politician, but from what we see of his character.
Yeah.
I cannot wait until the day that he's out of office and he goes back to just do whatever it is that he does, just leave the rest of us alone. And it was interesting because I'm trying to be objective, and what it looked like to me from the video that I was watching and from talking to one of the council members, this was such a unneeded, unnecessary conflict. There was no reason for something as mundane as a budget issue to turn into what it turned into. It just looked to me like what you had was almost this attempted kayfabe fight.
Yeah.
You know, one of the council members I spoke to said Sam Page ginned up these activist groups to come in and try to, make us look bad and make it look like we were, not doing something that we were going to be doing. And so they approved the funding. And I don't know if this is a matter of Sam Page wants to, strut around like a peacock going, see, we put the pressure on him and made him do it. Well, they were going to do it anyway. Okay, there was no question as to whether or not they were going to fund the nurses in the adult jail and the juvenile detention center. They were going to do that, but they had questions as to what the line items were going to be and how the money was going to be spent. All of the things local government is supposed to be doing to manage our money. The deadline isn't until next week for the end of the month. Now, they were at a position where they were preparing to scale back if that funding didn't happen, but there was never a question that was going to happen, despite what Sam Page said. So he shows up at the county council meeting, and he's at most of them, and basically tries to take over and stomp and throw his weight around as though anybody takes him seriously. He is the county executive, but he is not the leader.
So it sounds like he was trying to sound, or at least do a little bit of image rehabilitation, say, look, I'm fighting on behalf of all of you, despite all of the other nonsense that was going on leading up to that moment.
Well, he would hate, and his few, very, very few supporters, and there are almost no supporters left. Unless you're getting a paycheck from his administration, you're probably not a Sam Page supporter.
Probably not.
And that's not a joke. You're really probably not. But as much as they would hate to hear me say this, it looked to me like Sam Page is trying to be the leftist version of Donald Trump in the county. I'm going to come in and just throw my weight around, and you're going to do it my way because I said so. And that's not how that works. He's running into a county council that's unified and is Democratic majority who says, no, know your place, know your role. This is what the executive can do. This is what we're going to do. For instance, here's part of that exchange between Chair Rita Hurd Days and Sam Page.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
If you would let
cut
her
his
speak.
mic off, please, because at this particular time, I said, no, you cannot speak.
The charter
This
allows
is-
me to speak on topics, Madam Chair.
Okay, so first of all, it's funny to me that Sam Page wants to virtue signal about the charter allows me to speak. The charter, first of all, doesn't allow you to interrupt anybody and take over the county council meeting that's not yours. Secondly, since when do you give a crap what the charter says? For years, we've been telling you to adhere to the charter, dumbass.
Yeah, well, okay, playing devil's advocate, at least he got around to skimming through what the charter actually says.
Yeah.
And yes, this does sound like one of those things where he's probably very, very vindictive about what he probably perceives in his own mind as an injustice against him, a conspiracy against him, and now sounds like he's just trying to spite them back now.
And the thing is that I truly want to respect the offices, even when they're filled by people that I wouldn't support, that I don't like. You try to respect that, but Sam Page has soiled that office of the county, the highest office in the county, and he's just soiled it, and there's a stench on it. Regardless of who wins the next election for county executive, I kind of feel bad for him because the first thing they're going to have to do is fumigate the political environment around that office.
And have a very in-depth discussion saying, look, we had to actually modify the charter last time because this guy wasn't getting it. Do not do these things. Yeah. Specifically do these things.
Well, be a basic ethical human being and you won't have the trouble that Sam Page is dealing with that he's brought on himself. But here's a little more of this. What you have here is him trying to talk over Rita Hurd Days and trying to assert that he's in charge, and she's in charge. She's the chair. This is the county council meeting. He doesn't actually run it.
This is not your
I get to speak.
This is not your
Madam Chair, can we please have the county executive removed?
No, you have your security argue with mine. Come on.
Yeah, those were the grown-ups who were elected to run the county.
Can we have our executive removed, please?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, and it because he just kept trying to assert, and Rita Herd Days did the right thing by not backing down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if she said, okay, fine, have your say, then what she would have been signaling is that he comes in and runs things the way that he wants. And listen, nobody respects him in the first place, Republican or Democrat. There's one council member who still shows loyalty to Sam Page. And if she weren't in such a nutcase deep blue district, she wouldn't have a job anywhere because she couldn't even, I don't think she could get elected to anything else.
Well, and the thing, too, like you mentioned, in different environments, different people have the authority to do different things. So if the chair is telling you, stop talking, cut the mic off, if she had backed down, I think that would have actually made that position. That would have been a disgrace to that position because she is supposed to have the backbone and to assert the dominance and keep control of the situation.
Yeah, and Rita Herd Days is a Democrat, and she's definitely on the left. And I suspect when we got into a bunch of issues, there'd be a lot I disagree with her on. But one thing you give her credit for, because the criticism was, you're putting these people's lives at stake. Well, no, they weren't. They weren't. Other people are like, this is your responsibility. Yeah, that's why they're spending the money to do it. I mean,
that's what the meeting's about.
Yeah, that's literally what they were talking about doing, and they withheld it for a couple days because the county head of the health department didn't meet with them to go over the books, like every other leader in the county did. They met with the members of the council and said, okay, let me know your questions. I've done budgeting when I've been elected to a local office. The Parks and Rec people come and say, okay, here's what we want to do. All right, you're spending on this. What's that going to do? Hey, we got a little tight budget. Can we move something around? I mean, this is normal. But the Page administration continues to look for ways to create conflict to make it about him.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, the left gets mad when Donald Trump does that, which he does sometimes. We on the right get mad at J.B. Pritzker for doing just that, which he does. Sam Page does the same thing. Doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, MAGA, whatever. You got to know what your role is in your office. And Sam Page, for some reason, insists on trying to assert that he's the man who leads the county government. He was elected to that office, but like I said, because of his behavior, because of his incompetence, because of his lack of ethics, because of his lies, it turns out, documented lies, he isn't the leader. There are things he has authority to do, but nobody follows him unless they're getting a direct paycheck from him. So Dennis Hancock, Jake Zimmerman, Brian Williams, whichever of you guys ends up being the next county executive, you've got your work cut out for you, not just to lead the county in the direction you think it should go on a variety of things, but to try to restore trust in that office. Whoever is brought in, my recommendation would be every single person who's on the payroll of that office is just cleared out. It doesn't matter if it's the file clerk or the receptionist. You get rid of everybody from the Sam Page administration. Anybody who was loyal to him, anybody who had access to the inner workings, you bring in a fresh crew. That means the Democrats too. Brian or Jake, if they get in, I would bring in an entirely new, fresh crew to do that. And then you can build it whatever image you want to do, whatever priorities you want to do that. And if it's one of the Democrats, I'm sure we'll have disagreements. With Dennis Hancock, I will agree mostly. There may be, I'm leaving room for something I may disagree with Dennis on. But whoever's going to be in that role, it's not going to be a matter of we're going to do it my way now. You have to fix what's been broken that Sam Page has gone out of his way to break, needlessly break. All of that juvenile bickering that you just heard should never have happened. And the only reason it happened is because of Sam Page.
Very well said. Now, I know I mentioned earlier today's the last day to submit 80s bump music requests, but this for real is the very last chance for this week to submit your 80s bump music request for Flashback Friday. This week's theme is Patriotic America songs. It can be of any genre, but it has to have been produced, made, released, or on the charts in the 1980s.
Or maybe songs like just about America, Americana. anything.
Americana. Yeah, I have heard some people try to slip some 90s songs past me. You're not going to get past me. I apologize. That's Mike's rule, not mine.
Goodness.
I know.
I turned my back for just a minute. Look what you all do.
But go ahead and send me your Flashback Friday 80s bump music requests to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com and let me know when you're listening so that you can hear your requests getting played.
Okay, party with us tomorrow night at Frankie Martin's Garden. But Saturday, what you doing Saturday afternoon? There's another party going on. My friends at Nutrition Stop are having their 40th birthday party here in the St. Louis area, right off Mexico Road in St. Charles, noon to 3. Look at nutritionstop.com for directions and details. Come on out and be hungry because there's going to be a lot of free food and samples. I'm going to be there for at least a couple of hours, maybe all 3 hours, but check them out there. This is where I go to stay healthy. Okay, you can talk about MAHA all you want, and you can talk about the policies and what the government should be doing, or you can just say, I'm going to make myself and my family healthy again. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of those chemicals. I'm going to get rid of those preservatives. I'm going to get rid of all that artificial sugar, and I'm going to go get healthy food and healthy supplements, because just because it's a nutritional supplement doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you. Nutrition Stop only works with the companies that deal with natural ingredients, healthy ingredients, science-based ingredients, things that work with your body. And it's not just food. It's not just the groceries. It's not just the supplements. It's the things that you put on your body. Soap, deodorant, shampoo, stuff that is not going to seep really awful stuff into your system. It all makes a difference. It's worked for me. It's going to work for you. NutritionStop.com, and come on out between noon and 3 on Saturday to Nutrition Stop, and let's have some fun and eat some great healthy food.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
Here's what's happening. Missouri's lawmakers are going to debate data centers and the next big wave of big tech and how the government should be involved and not involved, but they're not going to do it right away. We brought this question up a little bit ago. Is the Great America State Fair basically a MAGA rally at this point? If it is, I don't think that's a good thing, and that's not a reflection on MAGA or President Trump, but I would hope that the Great America State Fair would be something that was less political than what it turned out to be, but that doesn't mean that it was necessarily President Trump's fault based on all the debacle that happened. And the Cardinals hope to split their series with the Diamondbacks. They're going to decide that later on today. 8:50 right now. Let's do one more news dump here.
The Morning News Dump brought to you by Lee May Concrete and Block.
Successful dump.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They get all the news.
The morning news dump.
There will not be a special session to address big tech in Missouri. Governor Mike Kehoe says the legislature should take up the debate over data centers in 2027. Responding to a request for a special session, the governor's office says he's looking forward to addressing debates over regulation and development in that regular session, which begins in January. We had a conversation with State Representative Tricia Byrnes about that a little bit earlier today. That's going to be posted on our podcast here a little bit later this morning, probably next hour and a half, something like that. Yeah. The St. Louis County Council approves funding for nurses and some limited primary health care services in the jail and the juvenile detention center. KMOV's Corey Stark explains.
This has been an explosive standoff between the county executive and council members. Now that the funding has been secured, nurses will be retained, continuing primary care in the jail and preventing patients from being sent to area hospitals.
The $3 million funding plan was delayed a little bit earlier this week when council members had questions about details of the spending. The council chambers were cleared out on Tuesday when conflicts between activists in the council and conflicts between Executive Sam Page and some council members became heated and kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, from the audio that you played before, you could tell it was definitely very high tension in that room, but kind of disappointed it didn't go like a bench clear in baseball.
It did
That's
not
what
do
I
a
was
bench
hoping
clearing
for
ball.
when you first said that.
All right, on Tuesday, a California federal judge blocked Immigrations and Customs Enforcement from arresting non-citizens at courthouses, at least federal courthouses, writing that the Justice Department and ICE didn't give sound reasoning for that policy. Senator Josh Hawley was on Fox as the Ingram angle. Let's just say he has thoughts on that ruling.
I read it. This is not a judicial opinion. This is a left-wing screed claiming the authority of law.
Department of Homeland Security called that order judicial activism, but the plaintiff's attorney says it's tremendously significant and is accusing the Trump administration of turning immigration courts into hunting grounds. It just kind of brings up the question for me as well. If ICE is supposed to find illegal aliens who are supposed to be deported, don't you go where you know they're going to be?
Yeah, if you're going to go fishing, you don't go to the desert, right?
That's right. And so here's the thing. If they can't make the arrest on the courthouse grounds, what they can do is sit there in the courthouse and go, okay, well, that's Joe 123. Joe 123 just had his hearing, and he's driving out in a whatever car, and then you just stop him at the stoplight a block away. All right, DoorDash is making a change when it comes to their charitable donations programs. This is significant. Michael Harrington has the story.
Use the Southern Poverty Law Center's criteria.
That I'm going to go start from the very beginning here. Let's try this.
The country's largest food delivery service says it will no longer use the Southern Poverty Law Center's criteria to decide where company charitable dollars will be spent. Alliance Defending Freedom, a Christian legal group, negotiated the decision by DoorDash. The SPLC routinely lists Christian ministries and charitable organizations as hate groups if they refuse to embrace the LGBT agenda. Many big corporations blindly use the SPLC to make decisions about giving. Michael Harrington reporting.
Okay, for years, and this you could probably trace back to the Jesse Jackson influence on corporate America, where at some point the left figured out we can do two things. One, we can indoctrinate in the colleges and universities, get into the business schools, not just into the humanities, and get this mindset of whatever platform I end up on, I must use that for leftist policies and culture. So Jesse Jackson was incredibly successful at shaking down these corporations for a lot of money to donate for his nonprofits, his left-wing activist groups. And so what you're seeing now after a long time is, I think, the market demanding that these companies not go right-wing, but just get out of the influencer role and react to the market, serve the market, sell us stuff, profit from the market, and stop trying to shape culture instead. Now, it's one thing to say, we're going to be a good corporate neighbor. We're going to support the Boy Scouts or the Little League team or whatever. But this idea that our corporate involvement is taking sides on culture war issues or political issues, we're seeing the backlash to that, and it's been building for quite some time.
Yeah, and also there is a huge difference between a church group or religious organization saying, we consider pride to be a sin and we don't want to engage with that, versus the Westboro Baptist Church literally doing their hateful antics.
Yeah, those people. I saw that. I covered, when I was a news reporter and anchor, I covered some of their stuff. It was gross.
That is a hate group.
Absolutely gross. All right, President Trump headlining Freedom 250's Great American State Fair after a bunch of musicians dropped out. He tells supporters that he has restored faith in the country and returned America to be number one on the world stage.
We have reclaimed our sovereignty, regained our liberty, restored our prosperity, and we have saved our country. In all things, we're once again putting a thing called America first.
So we've got 15 more days of the Great American State Fair. Each day is going to honor part of the president's platform, including Maha Mondays. So there's a couple of Maha Mondays there coming up. President Trump says he plans to hold another rally ahead of the Independence Day fireworks show.
Okay, so that part I'm not
wild about that.
No, that would probably if you wanted to go historically through different presidents and honor what they've done historically, that's one thing. But honoring your own platform,
this is, regardless of who you think's at fault here, it looks like this is really turning into something it really shouldn't be. Now, you can blame the left and for the pressure. They're the ones that politicized it. Yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around there, but it's just kind of disappointing how this started because it really was a great idea.
Yeah,
it should have been much better than what it is, but hopefully it can be salvaged into something that's unifying and good. All right, the Cardinals announced that Bill DeWitt III has been promoted to CEO. He succeeds his father, Bill DeWitt Jr., who does remain with the front office. He remains chairman and principal owner of the team. And the message being sent right there is that the Cardinals are not going to sell to somebody else, and they're going to remain in the DeWitt family's hands and care for the next generation or more. Cardinals do lose to the Diamondbacks Wednesday night. Final score, Busch Stadium, was 9-4. That means the series is Diamondbacks 2, Cardinals 1. Final game of that series tonight at 6:45. Cardinals hoping for the split, obviously. Michael McGreevy gets the start. He'll be on the bump to start this game for the Cardinals.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic.